with fake holiday Huell Hauser to celebrate some silver and California's gold. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on the judgment of the Menendez. You get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you. Mayhem's in studio.
Like and subscribe.
And then there's Dana Gould, who always brings the comedy. And always good to see. Good to see you, Dana.
Good to see you, Adam. So much to talk about.
So much. Dana's got dates coming up. It's going to be in Madison, Wisconsin. He's going to be in Madison, Wisconsin again.
These are all Dr. Z dates.
Oh, they are?
The road manager for the magical, mysterious Dr. Z. I finally found a way to sell out a venue, and that's to stop being myself.
Yeah, I find that works for me in relationships.
Yeah. Once I'm off
I'm
the
myself,
bill,
we flourish.
yeah, exactly. Once I'm off the bill, it's just ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
I dress up as a partner who cares.
Yeah.
And I find that makes the relationship much better.
Yeah, I'm only going to make one demand in this relationship, and that is you have to let me listen. That's all I
want. A week and a half ago, I was with Adam Ray as Dr. Phil in Arizona in front of 3,000 people in the round, having a raucous night.
Oh, wow.
And he's going out and doing Dr. Phil. So,
sure.
There's precedent. And maybe, there are no more rules in comedy, we figured out, or show business. There's no more rules in entertainment. Right?
I would say in most things.
Right. No, there's no more. There's nothing. There's nobody who can say that's a bad idea or that will never work or what have you anymore.
Yes. By the way, all to the good.
Yes. And maybe we have ushered in an era where we're doing shows. I mean, we have the live Kill Tonys and things like that. I was doing live podcasts. I mean, we're on probably our 15th year anniversary, like right now. It was at the end of 2009 where we couldn't make any money doing podcasting. And Mike August said, well, the Irvine Meadows will take you.
Right.
Not Irvine Meadows, the Irvine Improv.
I was at that
Probably.
show. I was at that show.
And you can just
definitely was.
You do a live podcast from the Irvine Improv and get paid. And nobody knew what a live podcast was because they thought it was stand-up with Adam Carolla or whatever have you. And since then, 15 years ago, no more rules.
Right.
And it's a good time to be alive. I mean, listen, Jake Paul is going to fight Anderson Cooper, which I definitely would pay to watch. But I'm just saying, I don't know. Is it boxing?
Right. Yeah.
What is it? It's just show business. It's now all
it's kind
show
of like
business.
it's kind of like in Marvel Comics. It's kind of like when Muhammad Ali fought Tooth Decay.
Right. Yes. No, but I mean, we're going back to the Harlem Globetrotters playing the robots on Gilligan's Island.
I was just reading this really great book called The Fixers, which is about this guy Eddie Mannix and this other guy Howard Strickland, and they were in the 40s and 50s. They were employed by Warner Brothers, and they covered up all the dirt. Mm-hmm. And there's so much dirt.
40s and 50s.
Yeah, much worse than anything today. Like, the only difference between like now and then is like Errol Flynn did nothing Diddy didn't do.
Right.
But Errol Flynn was the biggest movie star in the country for a couple years.
Right.
So, but the point being is, all these people, all these major companies, they're just doing whatever they have to do to thrive in that moment. Mm-hmm. And the reason, Hollywood used to make 100 movies a month. Yeah, because there was no television.
Right.
And people would go to the movies all day because there were less things to do. So people just do whatever works in the moment.
So Dr. Z is an adaptation to the new market?
It's more of a psychological reaction to my warped childhood and a need for approval.
Well, this is
only in this market could I do it.
Yeah.
It was an idea that I had. What if take Dr. Zaius from Planet of the Apes and mix him with Sammy Davis Jr. and that's the show. And I really love doing it. I have a lot of fun. You can see we just did a Christmas special that you can live stream. And
Christmas with a Z.
Christmas with a Z.
Yeah.
Bill Hader, Patton Oswalt, Rob Zabrecki, Janet Varney, and we had a great time. And you can live stream it.
Wait,
no middleman.
Oh wow!
As you learned,
Yeah.
It's I don't have to go to Joe Schmo and say, can I have money to do this? We just did it.
It says from Dynasty Typewriter at tinyurl.com/Dr. Z.
Here's the best way to get it.
Correct?
The best way to get it is to go to my Instagram and click in the bio.
So
and squad up.
No more rules. I mean, there are women who make a living from farting into a mason jar and sending it to folks online. That's where we're at.
Hang on.
Write that down.
Yeah. What
Is there
the
time
URL?
is there time to get one of those jars by the 25th?
I'm just saying, the founding fathers.
honey?
The founding fathers. No, John Wayne would never stop throwing up if he knew where we're at right now.
Yeah.
But we're there.
And but it's also the people that came before John Wayne would have never stopped throwing up if they knew what it was like in the 40s.
I think they would have thrown up in their mouth, but not projectile vomit.
Yeah.
I have. Everyone throws up in their mouth.
That's true.
Sometimes most of it gets out.
So but
throwing,
not through.
Throwing up in my mouth is like saying assless chaps. No, chaps don't have asses.
There is projectile vomiting, and then there's that weird belch after you eat something weird at the Golden Corral.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I was thinking of you, because I'm glad you brought up Dr. Z, because I was trying to explain. So I went to the Intrepid Museum on the aircraft carrier in New York. And
wow.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great. I bet.
It's great. I've been there a few times, but it's great. And I took my son, and we just walked up and down the decks, and I sort of explained to him what life was like when this thing saw a battle in the 40s and kamikazes, and that's a Corsair, and that's a prop plane, and that's a jet, that's an F-18 over, that's a jet plane, and there's the SR-71.
The Corsairs had those crazy wings.
Yes, they did. And they were
two dudes talking about World War II.
WW2, baby.
And the SR-71 is at the end of the battleship, and the SR-71, flies fastest airplane in the world, made in the 60s, still the fastest airplane in the world, but that's because we don't care. We have satellites now. They had surveillance planes. We basically just built the fastest airplane in the world, put a camera in it, and flew it over Russia at 70,000 feet at 3,000 miles an hour, and they couldn't shoot us down. But now we have satellites.
At a certain point, it's fast enough. And you don't need to do any more.
It's faster than a bullet, which is kind of insane if you think about a bullet being fired and a guy being in a cockpit going faster than a bullet. But I was explaining to my son, who loves movies, I said, in the movie, remember in I Am Legend, and Will Smith was on the back of this plane on the wing, and he was hitting golf balls out into what is now sort of the tundra of Manhattan, because it's all grown over. And I love all that stuff.
Yeah, me too.
And then I said to my son, it's really was a knockoff or a reboot or whatever of Omega Man.
Well, it's a remake. Omega Man was...
The book was called
I Am Legend.
Right.
Yeah, they for some reason thought that was a better title.
And then he said, what's Omega Man? And then I backhanded him. But here's the deal. He kept his head turned the direction I backhanded him, which meant he'd done wrong.
Right.
He knew it. Like, if you backhand a woman and accuse her of cheating and her head snaps back immediately, she didn't cheat.
Sure.
If she keeps it that direction... She cheated.
She knows.
So he knew he'd done wrong.
Yeah, he knew he did wrong.
I backhanded him. And then I started talking to him about the majesty of Chuck Heston.
Oh, talking about it. I was talking about him the other day for a long time with somebody.
And then I stumbled into...
He's shirtless a lot in that movie. And he is
A sinewy man.
No, he's in great shape for a middle-aged guy in 1970. Today, it's like, today you have to look like the Michelin Tire Man.
Right.
But like you just look like my dad without a shirt. It's like when Sean Connery comes out shirtless in Diamonds Are Forever. He's like, "Are you finishing those potatoes, dear?" He just looks like my
He
dad.
looked like every guy who smoked back then who took his shirt off.
Yeah.
Not fat, essentially.
Yeah. Well, that's Heston in Planet of the Apes. He put on about 10 between that and the Omega Man.
Yeah, so Omega Man was amazing, and I just loved that movie when I was a kid. Also, you realize pre-CGI, they stole shots from the top of a building in mid-Wilshire and just filmed an empty Los Angeles, which they probably just did on a Sunday.
It was a Sunday morning at like 5:30. I know way too much about that movie.
But things were closed. People were in church. Like, things were closed. You could shoot an empty LA at 5 a.m. on a Sunday, which is, unthinkable now.
Yeah. You'd have to move 70,000 tents.
And could you imagine even shooting that without hearing neat, 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 neat? It's like the sound guy be going nuts.
There is one shot at the beginning of that movie where he is alone, but there is a car on the 110, just going all by itself.
Just one zombie with a leaf
one
blower.
one car going.
So then I came in, I was talking about the movie Earthquake on this show.
Sure.
People have no idea about the magic
Classic.
of Earthquake. And what got me started is the subway vigilante, for lack of a better term, Daniel Penny, was acquitted. And I said he looks like Margot Gortner, who also was a military guy, vigilante from Earthquake.
Also child evangelist.
Yeah, crazy story.
Yeah, crazy story, and was in, I believe, Food of the Gods.
They had the same hair. And then the guy put the wig
Art
on.
Garfunkel thing.
Yes, a very Art Garfunkel-y thing, minus the male pattern.
Daniel Penny is, somebody said to God, "What if Art Garfunkel could kill?"
Yeah. Oh, he looked like the original Menendez Brothers attorney. Susan, whatever her name is, they went to the same Fantastic Sam's, right?
She was always smoking going into the courthouse.
It's never a good look.
No.
And she had some, and also the blonde Marsha Clark as well.
Yes, that perm.
It's not
It's a perm, yeah.
I want to say
William Catt,
yes,
the greatest American hero, also had that.
I don't, it's not good. The black version of that is the Jerry curl. It's not a good look.
No.
It's not a good look on a human, regardless of your background or your culture. It's bad on a woman. It's equally bad on a guy.
It's not that Rick James slept with 75,000 women. It's that he slept with 75,000 women with Jerry curl.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which also,
I think he just did that to make it a challenge.
yeah. Also, probably because he wanted to be on the bottom. Because you don't want to have a guy with a big Jerry curl mount you. It's just weird hair relaxers dripping, burning your eyes.
It's like you're covered in wax.
Chemical burn.
So there was this great scene that we showed a couple of weeks ago where they dropped the F-bomb like 5 times, and not the F-bomb you're thinking of. Leslie Abramson, that's the guy I'm thinking, and Marjo. Same hair. But if we have that scene, it's great. Because
in Earthquake?
Yeah, because, and I'll tell you why. Because I think you and I are on the same page. Any movie that has a bizarre scene in the middle of a movie that has a theme. Earthquake was Irwin Allen, big budget, disaster film. Real meat and potato stuff.
Yeah. And then I believe it was filmed in Sense Around.
Yes. And then right in the middle of it comes some D story about homoeroticism
Yeah.
and bullying and gay slurs. And it's like, what is this doing?
Yeah.
And I'm 9 when I'm watching this
Yeah.
film. I want to see the Hollywood sign come tumbling
Yeah,
down,
that's
not
why
all
you're
the
here.
double entendre gay
And you
talk.
feel it in the theater.
Yes, I felt my anus
That was
shaking.
Censor.
No, but
Also known as a woofer.
there's 2 other scenes. There's 2 other movies that do this. There is Porky's, which is supposed to be a nudie romp, coming of age, high school, whatever. And in the middle of that movie, there's this anti-Semitic C story where it's like, listen, kike, get out of here. And it's like, I thought it was titties in the in the shower. What happened to the dick pull titty scene? And there's weird, like a whole C story of anti-Semitism.
Shoehorn, if you will. Yeah.
Very serious anti-Semitism.
Yeah, just
shoot in.
Tone deaf, out of place.
Well, this isn't the movie.
Yeah,
I've seen the
Porky's.
commercial. This isn't what we signed up for. I didn't sign up for Marjo Gortner's homoeroticism
You
in
know
the
what?
middle of this.
It's that same thing we talked about a couple weeks ago, I think, where they were putting normal ads on porn.
Oh, yeah.
Where
Flipping the script.
you get you in the door with excitement and then preach to you in the C store.
I mean, you know what we need to find? You know what would be
Clorox
interesting?
wipes.
If you find the trailer for Earthquake, there will be
sure
no
No
hint
mention.
of this weird homoerotic
There's another-
turn we're taking.
there's
And one
another-
more film. Sorry.
Oh, and then I have one. Then I have
Okay.
one that I'm
Okay.
wondering if it's the next one that you have.
Gremlins.
No, not Gremlins.
Gremlins, Phoebe Cates, in the middle of Gremlins, which is Gremlins.
Yeah.
yeah.
In the middle of it, she explains why she doesn't like Christmas.
Right.
And it's because they needed to know why she hated Christmas
Right.
so much. And she could have went, we're Jews. We just don't celebrate it. But no, she said she had a long soliloquy about her dad going through the chimney
Yes.
on
it's-
Christmas
yeah.
Eve to surprise everyone. Now, how do you surprise everyone if they're asleep and you go through the chimney? And by the way, chimneys have fireboxes and flues and stuff. It's not just one big brick.
Gremlins is a very
water
dark,
slide.
It's a very dark
there's a
movie.
flue in there. You can't fit. It's 9 inches by 9. Anyway, don't get me started on building chimneys. But the point is he then gets stuck. They can't find him. Weeks go by.
Right.
They
Yeah,
don't know
that
where he
was
is.
weird.
Her and her mom start smelling something.
Sure.
Because decomposing corpse. The firemen break it open. They think there's going to be a dead squirrel in there. Turns out dad's decomposing corpse. Right in the middle of Gremlins.
But that was a vestige of that movie, which was much darker originally. And actually,
it was left over.
yeah, it was the vestige from the original version of the script, which was a lot darker and a lot
What?
more violent. Because there's still that weird scene where the grandmother's killed by the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a weird thing. The other one is in The Killing. Stanley Kubrick's The Killing with Sterling Hayden. He has like the old guy that advises the heist, and he doesn't go on the heist, but they were cellmates in jail. And there's one scene where he goes like, they're talking to him like the day before the heist, and he goes, "Hey Mickey, you ever think you and me one more time, like back in the old days?" And he goes, "Nah, I don't think so, Mickey."
Wow. Like gay sex?
Yeah, it's really weird. You and me, like back in the old days.
One more time.
Nah, I don't think so.
All right, let me play the Earthquake trailer, and you tell me if there's any hints of homoeroticism in it. And it's fun for me because I lived in Los Angeles, so I get to.
And I live for homoeroticism, so
That's
this
right.
works out great.
They should just Dutch the camera.
Yeah,
if they
I know.
needed
You're
something.
moving the camera.
Yeah. Under the blazer.
That was a great. I've never seen that shot.
Yeah, the great models of people falling out.
Universal has given Earthquake its maximum effort, starting with a story and screenplay written by George Fox and Mario Puzo, author of The Godfather.
Mario Puzo.
I didn't know that.
That's
this
weird.
fascinating drama of interwoven lives with a superb cast. Charlton Heston, Ava Gardner, George Kennedy, Lorne Greene, Genevieve Bujold,
Whoa.
Richard Roundtree,
Yeah.
Marjo Gortner, Barry Sullivan, plus
Wow,
the city
man.
of Los Angeles and its millions of people living, loving, planning, fighting until nature's most violent of
Hold
evil
on a
forces-
second. What do we mean? Living, loving, planning,
fighting.
Why fighting? Why are we adding that negative spin to this? Just
By
living
the way,
and loving.
that announcer is the director Paul Thomas Anderson's father, Ernie Anderson, who was also famous for being Ghoulardi, the horror host in Cleveland.
And the voice of ABC.
That's right.
Remember they did that?
Tonight on Vegas.
Tonight on Vegas, somebody's killing showgirls, and Dan wants to know why. And after that, love.
It was always like, Dan is in love. But what's the mob got to do with it?
That's great. He'd go right from someone's killing showgirls to Charlie's Angels.
There's a
it
great-
was to heart.
You can find it on YouTube of his just outtakes, just of him like I don't know where we are swearing at this stage now in the show.
Swear all you want.
Yeah, because there's a tonight on the love. Fuck this piece of guy. I can't fucking do it. Get somebody else in here. God damn it. Tonight on Funniest Home Videos. Shoot me in the face. What the hell is this?
Oh, I've
It's just
heard
great.
that.
Yeah, it's so great.
Yeah,
It's
it was
so
a thrill for me because
Celebrities at Their Worst was the CD that everybody had.
Right. When I worked at the Flask liquor store on Ventura
Oh, sure,
Boulevard.
yeah. My
Sure.
wife used to sell the Flask when she was a whiskey.
Oh,
salesman.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Flask, sort of high-end liquor store, and Marty and Chuck owned the place, and I was the delivery boy there when I was like 16, maybe 17, and Ernie Anderson lived up the street.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they were in like Toluca Village or something,
Sure.
like right off the Wash and the Ventura Highway and stuff. And he used to come in and he'd bring in his little toe-headed kids with him too, which is Paul Thomas and there's a few kids. And it was like, oh, the voice of the guy with the love boat. Like it was so
funny. Hey, I need some booze. I can't go through this weekend sober.
Yeah, the distinct memory I had is that he was a big follower of high school sports and football and whatever. And at some point, I had made the All Valley football team,
So
and
was he like aware of
he
you?
read it in the small print in the back of the green sheet
Great.
or whatever it is, and he came in. He was like, "Hey, Adam, saw you in the newspaper." 17.
great.
I was
Yeah,
like,
sure,
Ernie
your head
Anderson.
explodes, yeah.
Yeah, saw the guy who did Charlie's Angels. That guy.
fantastic.
I love that guy. All right, so
Let's get back to Charlton Heston and his
Charlton
epaulets.
Heston. Sorry, Charlton Heston is an architect, by the way.
Sure he is.
Yeah, he didn't want to cut corners.
This was the scarf years where he had
Yeah.
that little scarf tied around his neck in every movie he
Kerchief
did.
years.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah.
an ascot.
Ascot.
Ascot's a little different.
Oh, you're right.
It has a specific way of tying an ascot. Ascots, you're getting into the more Charles Nelson, Riley, Paul Lynn territory. The secret square, and we all know the secret.
Yeah. No, the
Like the old days.
the Mount
Yeah.
Rushmore of Ascot
Confirmed bachelor.
could not be mentioned without Cassidy. Jack Cassidy.
Jack Cassidy.
Cassidy was number one in
Yep.
the Ascot
Even I know that guy. Yeah.
department.
The father of Sean Cassidy, was a teen heartthrob and went on to become a phenomenal writer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, terrific writer.
Did not know
television
that.
writer. Yep.
Of serious
Yeah,
work?
serious TV stuff. If you look up his IMDb, he's done a lot of shit. Really dark, creepy stuff.
Really?
Yeah, he did like Erie, Indiana, one of those shows. Yeah, he's great. He's great.
All right. Little more
And
trailer.
completely, you should probably have him on.
I have
He's-
had him on, but
yeah, he's
I
very
think it
self-effacing
predated that.
about his
Nice guy.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
guy.
Until nature's most violent of evil forces them to battle and claw for life itself.
Jim, Stuart Graff. She's done it again. Yeah,
pill
I think
popping.
we'll get faster action if you call the ambulance.
I'm wearing too much corduroy.
Also,
All right, pause it. So, Ava Gardner is a drunk and a pill popper. And Chuck Heston is a successful architect who works for a big firm that her dad owns. And so she's on the bed going, and he's going, it's Monday morning, I'm going for a jog. And she's like, fun, give me the scotch, and he's like, you got to get up and get some exercise, woman. Like they're dealing with addiction and stuff. He's finding her pills. Right. She's overdosed.
I have a weird story about that one scene.
He takes a mistress on the side.
Yeah. She's in bed and he's sitting on the bed. And there's a director, a friend of mine named Peyton Reed, who directs the Ant-Man movies. Mm-hmm. And he's as into all the stuff as we are. And we talked obsessively about Earthquake. And Peyton goes like, there's a scene where he's sitting on the bed and she goes, what do they call a male nymphomaniac? And he goes, satyr, I think. Right. And then gets up and does this weird move getting off the bed. It looks like his hip goes out.
Yeah.
And he goes, and then like, he called me out of the blue one day. I'm just like, driving in the car and he goes, I was watching Earthquake again. I figured it out. He's stepping over the dolly track.
Oh, why he made that move.
But I know exactly what he was talking about. Like we hadn't spoken in like 3 weeks.
It was also, it's an interesting conceit because Chuck Heston is the hero star of this. He is the protagonist of this film. 5 minutes in Act 1, he's banging his guma.
Sure.
And we were okay. Like the whole mentality of this country in 1974 was, you got a wife, she's getting up there, she's taking the pills, she's washing it down with the vodka. Yeah, you got a young hot chick on the side. Why wouldn't you? We're not judging him. Like they wouldn't do that now.
An airport. Dean Martin is dropped off at the airport by his wife, who is played by the woman that played Della Street on Perry Mason, beloved actress.
Right.
And he's like, what do you want me to bring you from Rome, honey? Right. All right, I'll tell you. He walks into the airport and the stewardess goes, I'm pregnant. He goes, we'll get you to a real doctor, not some butcher behind a drugstore.
I know.
Just like he's lining up as Kumar with an abortion 30 seconds after kissing his wife. And I thought it would have been funny as if every woman in the movie walked up to him and went, I'm pregnant. We'll get you a good doctor. He's like 30 abortions into the movie by the time the plane gets in trouble.
All right, we'll play a little more and then I'll play the homoerotic
play this
scene.
all day.
I have to go to Oregon this summer. All summer on a hydroelectric project. Come up there.
They indicate another pre-shock, probably before noon today.
And if it happens?
Then the big one follows in 48 hours.
If this dam busts, there won't be nothing between here and Wilshire Boulevard left to burn.
Well, if the dam busts, it'll be wet.
That's right. That's a good point. I'll put it out. All right, so you get it. But watching this, you wouldn't know of the homoeroticism that was, woven into that. I'll play you that scene with Marjo, which is just fantastic.
Now, his hair is different.
Well, because he puts the wig on.
Oh, it's a wig, okay. But the wig looks like his real hair. The fake hair is
that's one of the few guys who puts the wig on and it looks more realistic.
Bodybuilding magazines.
These are the
long
goons.
shot holding on that guy's abs.
Was it true that blondes have more fun? Oh, no. Look at that. I told you he was a fag.
Say, Jody, you a fag? If I'd known you was a fag,
That's
Jody, I'd have been
my
up here
favorite.
before. Could have used the money.
All that.
Hey,
Left, right. Let's decorate the warrior.
People back in the day used to throw away a lot of lettuce. Because every time they dumped something on somebody, it was always lettuce.
What is happening in this scene?
Nobody knows. It's an earthquake movie. That's the whole point.
That's insane.
That's insane, right?
I guess.
Now, later on, guess what? He, as a National Guardsman, catches them looting. And guess what you get to do with looters?
You guys either hands up or massage me.
You get to shoot them.
Please tell me
But
that's
look
what
at this
happens.
move. I mean,
One, the guy in the middle, that's a
He's
wig.
the best.
That's a wig. The other guy's dressed like Hooper.
Dress up in women's jewels. Did you find any dresses in the car?
No, Jody.
Well, I guess we'll have to shoot him.
Hey, wait a minute, Jody. I was telling these guys just today to lay off. I swear to God I was. Ask them.
Yeah.
Ask them. Sure, those naked
That's
guys
a
on
link
the wall,
from
that
the
didn't mean
Mod
nothing.
Squad.
We didn't lift the weights and all that crap.
Scum like you think you can get away with anything. Push people around when you want to, steal when you want to, make fun of men who have to work for a living, huh? But not today. Hey, come back, you guys. I was only kidding.
Hey, don't do that, man.
It's his own little melee massacre right in the middle of mid-Wilshire.
Not like back in the store, is it, Miss Amici? No scrawny bitches coming in asking for double green stamps 2 days after the special's over, huh? None of that stuff. Move it! I want this whole patrol area quarantined. No civilians are to be allowed through without being questioned. Can't tell, they might be looters.
What about the people trying to get through to Wilson Plaza aid station?
I meant everybody.
There's no other clear streets around here.
Who out?
By the way, this guy rules with an iron fist.
Yeah, I was
but-
going to say, Buttigieg is mad with power.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's funny, it's true. He just
I have no
gunned
problem
down.
with anything I've seen.
He just gunned down 3 civilians, and his platoon is over it almost immediately.
Hey, wait a minute.
All right, well,
Like,
you know,
Are we
they
going
had
to
to
reroute
go.
people into a cul-de-sac?
Should we get a medic over here? Maybe just to see if there's some life left in one of these?
Yeah, Marjorie Gordon was that is a very strange. There was another movie that I just saw where it was a super F-bomb moment. I was like, what the? And it was.
We have the Gremlin scene writing.
Yeah.
If you need
Phoebe Cates.
Phoebe Cates, worst Christmas ever. Again, hold on a second. Dana, you're a celebrated writer.
Yeah.
Well, you will be one day.
One day.
One day
Fingers crossed.
you'll be celebrated one day.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a celebrated writer.
If I continue to not die,
You will one day be celebrated. I will one day be celebrated. Right. I understand the necessity of explaining a character arc. Like, why do you hate Christmas so much? And it must be addressed. Mm-hmm. And it could be simply taken care of with my dad walked out on the family Christmas night. He left us, or whatever you need to get you to bridge this story gap. But she takes it further. Here it is. And also keep an eye on Gizmo. Because Gizmo, when he's getting bad news, he's kind of like a dog in a 90s film where they go, "You want to break up with me?" and you show the dog going, "Oh." It's like, I'm not sure that the dog would completely understand the nuance of this exchange, but okay. Trailer with her assistant and run lines on this like 40 minutes before it was time to head to set.
Working with her coach.
Yeah, he's sitting there, some bald guy with a ponytail, and Gary's sitting there, and she's running line. She's going, "Why do I hate Christmas?" Line, Gary.
When I was 9 years old.
And just like, also know the movie you're in. Don't get too. You don't have to get too real on this. You're talking with a Muppet. You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
That's an insane scene to have in the middle of this film, is it not?
I can see how they wanted it to be. I think it was intended to be funny. I think they were going for like the dark joke,
but they put the wrong soundtrack behind it.
That and it was a little too actor studio. They'll just pick it up.
Yeah,
pick it up.
We have Leslie Abrams.
Like the Coen brother. That's like a Coen Brothers joke. It's like in the way like a lot of stuff in No Country for Old Men. I find hilarious.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah. Like when he said, "Would you just hold this against your forehead?"
Yeah.
It's hilarious. What is this?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a lot of great dark humor in there.
I think that's what they're going for there, but you needed to.
Okay.
I like Joe Dante so much. Oh, yeah.
Oh, why, guys? Oh, my God.
We're looking at Leslie Abramson and Marjorie Gordon.
No, by the way, not to take us into what's going on with the Menendez brothers? Are they getting out? What's happening?
I just flew back from New York with Mark Geragos, their attorney, on his airplane.
Okay, so I did ask the right person.
Yeah, come to the right person.
Attorney privilege, I mean.
Well, they got rid of the last DA and they got the new DA.
But the new DA is tougher on crime guy.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to say we let the infamous killer fill in the blank I'm the guy who sprung that guy.
I get it. Go ahead.
Listen,
I asked you a question and then I interrupted you.
No, he took the case because of me, because I told him to do it.
I think this is what I think. I think you can be the last DA was kind of a disaster, I think everybody felt. And this new DA is great. Yeah, I think when people break the law, they should go to jail. I didn't know that was a radical thought. But I also think that given light of like what these guys, it's obvious what they've been through. The situation was, I don't think anybody's going to think you're soft on crime if you let these guys go. Thank you. Yeah,
I agree. You might be able to find, Joe, somewhere Mark Geragos in one of the many shows he's done, sort of saying why he decided to get involved with this case and then citing me.
But I believe that it's being
argument.
Not necessarily relitigated.
I mean, they're getting out. They're going to get out. They had a preliminary setting which was set for the 11th, because I know this because several weeks ago, Mark said, I'll take you to New York and back, because I had business in New York. I'm going to New York anyway, but we have this hearing on the 11th, and then we can leave after that in the early evening on the 11th of December. But then that thing got scrubbed after the DA removal and election, and now it's kicked back to mid-something January.
It would be hilarious if they did get out and immediately went on a
killing spree.
That
would be awesome. That would be poetic and
their
awesome.
only defense, Pobody's nerfect.
That's right. Dyslexic. All right, we got some. So we'll see if we can find that, because I won't step on it, but Mark has said on many a TV show that I've been the inspiration for him to defend the boys.
You saw the doc, I'm assuming.
I have not seen the doc.
Here's the weird thing. I was watching the documentary with my wife, and they talk about like what a huge pop cultural thing they were. Mm-hmm. And they cut to Kathy Griffin doing a bit about the Menendez Brothers, because she was very into the Menendez Brothers. And the bit that she is doing is from a pilot that she and I did that never aired.
Really?
I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that thing.
Wow.
How the hell did they get that?
Yeah. No, now I'm going to watch it.
Troy Miller directed it.
The dramatic show covered it really well, too. Like, looked at it from every angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listen, I really just have society broken off into two groups, which can possibly harm me or anybody in my family or anybody in society, and not going to harm anybody in society. So I live in a world where I have Martha Stewart in there with the Menendez brothers, in there with the low-level drug dealer. Yeah. I just go, I don't want any of them. I don't want to pay for any of them to be somewhere in custody. And as a matter of fact,
I think
Martha Stewart's an earner, and I want her paying taxes.
Right.
You don't want to get her off the books for 11 months. We just left $41 million in tax revenue on the table, people.
You know who it was that was a dog with a bone with Martha Stewart? James Comey.
Oh, that's right. Because I did see her thing, and he is a douche. And it's like,
he's such a douche.
He's such a douche. But it's like, look, we didn't get her for the insider trading, but she did lie about it after. It's
that's what they do. Yeah. Well, you weren't speeding, but you rolled down your window too slow. So I'm going to cite you for that.
Yes, I know. So I hate it, whether it's Comey or Mike Nifung and Duke Lacrosse or whoever, or the guy who's going after, or the girl who's going after Alec Baldwin for the fourth time. You're not allowed to just collect pelts in that position. You know what I mean? Like, this guy is a homeless guy. I don't give a shit whether he gets convicted or not, but it would look really cool if I could get Martha Stewart.
And these guys, even if they know the person is innocent, they go, but I want to run for governor. Like the Fatty Arbuckle story.
Right.
Like the DA in San Francisco knew Fatty Arbuckle was innocent.
Right.
And he tried to throw him in jail 3 times because it would have been a great scalp for him to have. Was Nifong the same guy in the staircase killing?
I don't know. I know he's the Duke Lacrosse guy. Oh, we have Geragos mentioning me on Megyn Kelly. Okay, so there he is.
Our our mutual friend, Adam Carolla, who is at one point was my podcast partner. Adam is the one who I thought crystallized this the best. Adam's got teenagers, Natalia and Sonny, twins. And Adam would say to me for years before I represented the Menendez, he says, if Natalia goes into Sonny's room on a Friday and says, Sonny, let's go blow mom and dad's face off on Sunday. And Sonny says this Sunday or next Sunday, Adam's point was, I think I have failed as a parent. I'm not really, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I know. All right. So,
thank you. And it would definitely be Natalia going into Sonny's room. I don't think he would initiate it, but he might go along with it.
Yeah.
That's
if the
all.
response is, I'm listening.
That's essentially.
It's so weird. My brother, Kevin, my dad, all right, give me.
Is your dad still alive?
Yeah, 94.
Wow.
So here's the deal. My mother passed away in April. She had dementia, and here was these are all people that live within 15 minutes of each other in Massachusetts.
Right.
Guess what the big plan was? And mom had been in the facility for 5 years. She was down to like 40 pounds.
Right.
Nobody responded to the news that she had passed with, what?
Right.
You know what the plan was for mom's imminent demise? Nothing.
No.
Leave her in the yard and wait for crows.
Oh, man.
The one guy that lives on the other side of the GD continent has to get on the phone.
Yeah.
Here was the plan.
Yeah.
Indulge me to tell this brief story.
Listen, I will, and then I will one-up your family story. We'll see.
We'll see. Here was the big plan. We're going to wait for Dad to die, and then we can bury them both at the Veterans Cemetery because it's free. Because my dad's a veteran.
And did the wives get grandfathered into the
apparently,
grave,
or grandmothered in.
Right.
The Veterans Cemetery, a convenient 2 hours from the house.
Wow.
You might want to know where the house is located, Adam.
Yes.
Cemetery Street.
What?
9 Cemetery Street.
I thought the Munsters lived there.
Hopedale. Look it up.
The
Google
Adams
Earth
family,
it.
no?
This is the house I grew up in. 9 Cemetery Street, Hopedale, Massachusetts.
An eerie
Street
harbinger.
that ends at the gates to the town cemetery. Never entered anyone's mind to call the end of the street and ask for the price of a hole in the dirt, which, for the record, cremation plot $350.
$350 a what? It's just straight
hole in the dirt.
350. Oh, there's a cremation plot.
Yeah, $350. And
so we're looking at your house.
That is the house I grew up in.
Wow, modest.
That is crazy.
All right. I got a lot of questions.
Well, let me just finish this real briefly. So this is what they end up with.
Wait, what are they going to do with your mom?
Yeah. Put her
waiting
on
for your dad to go.
Put her in the fridge.
I'm telling you now.
Cremate. Okay.
It's so great. And the leads, they end up with this thing called a duplex urn. Adam, imagine, if you will, a child's lunchbox.
Okay.
My mother is where the sandwich goes. My father will go where the thermos goes. But for now, it's on the mantelpiece, and my dad just sits there and goes from looking at that to whatever old Western he is watching on television, 94 years old, and then back. It's like having your casket in the house.
Damn.
Like,
wow.
We put coats in there now, but when I die, I'll just jump in. But
wow.
But Dad,
also, if the Lunchbox has the Scooby-Doo thermos in it, that'll work for the ashes.
It's the Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, the Dukes of Hazzard.
But
Boss Hog's thermos.
My dad's 94, and he's gone down to. So my one brother moved in with him because my dad's 94, and he's in great shape. But my brother's moved in with him, and so my dad's in Florida with my other brother for the winter, and. I said, so what's it like living in the house without Dad? And he goes, I'm heading home from work to roll around on the lawn.
Wow.
He's so happy. But he's 94, still cranking.
I don't want to be a one-upper.
Right. Well, if you could top the duplex urn, I'm ready to go.
The duplex urn was something that the most creative writers couldn't have conjured. You know what I mean? That had to exist somewhere.
Yeah.
Now,
like that Monty Python bit. We used to dream of living in a corridor.
Right. Well, in the family lethargy meets reverence for the dead department, I think I can give you a run.
Okay, I'm here.
All right. My family consisted of my step-grandfather, Laszlo, and then my mother, my grandmother, Helen, who was my biological grandmother, my mom's mother, and then my mom and my dad. And then they both remarried, so it was a stepmom and a stepdad. My grandfather was beloved, died, and everyone in my family, well, not everyone, but my grandparents were part of the, what was it? Foundation. I'll think of it in a second. But
Shoah?
I will Neptune Society.
Oh, I know the Neptune Society.
All right. All poor people know Neptune.
Yeah.
So the Neptune Society, you buy in when you're 31 and you give them $26 when you're 31. And then at some point when you die, they come get you.
Yep.
Now, if you
They have a building on like Van Nuys and Ventura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They a couple of things, none of which I thought were really legal in California.
They might not be, by the way.
You can skip the burial at sea part. See, that's an extra. So what they do is I think they get you for this base price, and then they go, but of course you're going to want to get in the ash taxi and go out into the bay, and then you'll buy some flowers, and we'll scatter them over the open sea, and then we'll take your loved ones.
Is it called an ash taxi?
I don't know. I came up with the name.
That's beautiful.
But my family didn't take the bait, pardon the pun. So they just said, no, here's your $30. Just take them. So when my grandfather died, it was 4 a.m. A dude just showed up in the station wagon, and he just took it. And that's it. Yeah. Now, there was no urn, because the urn was an upsell. Forget about a duplex urn. The urn would have been another $26 or something. And then it was all upsell. I think what they do is they it's kind of like them going, yeah, we can sell you a new car for $16,000. And you go, oh, that sounds nice. You going to want a steering wheel with that? And you go, yeah. Okay, that's going to be another $2,800. And they could just build you up to $30,000. My family didn't take. They just bought. So they just took my grandfather. He was gone. And he never returned. There was no shoebox with ashes in it. There's no anything. My grandmother died. Same thing. By the way, no wake, no funeral.
Right.
No headstone, no gathering. Gone.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I thought, this is insane. Then my mom died about two years ago. And she was just, I said, it's great. It's a joke I do sometimes, but it makes the audience too sad.
I understand.
You understand? I understand the sad jokes. We should work out some of our sad jokes here.
I've been opening with this story, and
it makes them too sad. I said after about 3 weeks, I said to my stepdad, I go, where's Mom?
No way.
No, I know.
And he goes, she donated her body to UCLA Medical. And I said, oh, what were they studying? Moms who never loved their son? And the audience goes, oh.
Yeah.
But it makes me laugh.
Yeah, I get it. I'm with you 100%. I used to say, like, my dad's middle name, my dad's name is Kenneth, but no, whatever it's, I can't remember what it was, but they couldn't fit drunken, unloving bastard on a driver's license.
Oh.
Yeah, no, if I thought it wasn't funny, I wouldn't have said it. Here it guffaws,
So now my mom's gone. The only family I got, the only living family is stepmom, stepdad. The biological family.
Oh, that's interesting.
Is mom, dad. Now dad's gone. Now dad. Okay, so we're 0 for 4 on wakes, funerals, or even a luncheon's, just an event.
Yeah.
Just we're going to gather
closure,
up.
No closure.
We're going to get 3 or 4 of his friends back from the thing, or a couple of guys from the church or whatever. We're going to get together on a Saturday and all bring sandwiches. 0 for 4. There is none.
Mm-hmm.
There's none.
Boy,
We're 0 for 4.
We are peas in a pod.
I know. We are. I think we're 1 for 4 in the urn department, because I do believe my stepmother has the remains, the ashes. I do not know if it's an actual urn. I think of it as more of a, like the kind of sack clay comes in. But
Oh my God.
but that's it. Everyone's gone. There's no plaque. There's no headstone. There's no urn. There's no party. There's no event.
It's bizarre. Bizarre. And I am also well played, by the way.
You don't want to be a one-upper.
No. But the fact that, because I literally wrote a Christmas card to my brother last night, mailed it on my way here.
Oh, yeah.
Who's in the house.
Yeah.
And I said, have a great holiday. Say hi to mom.
Right.
Because
right.
I don't want to be in the house with your ashes.
No.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Very unconventional.
As
right?
I've told my children, when I die, I want my remains scattered on Mulholland at the Lookout.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want to be cremated.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Sky burial.
I want to be a source of excitement.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I told my kids I want my corpse used for stunt work, because I want to keep earning. You know what I mean? Like, when you see that dummy fall off the building, the elbows going the wrong way, throw an actual corpse off that thing. I'm an atheist.
Guys going off the bridge in Raiders of Temple of Doom.
Yeah, that'll be me. But only a human body makes a certain sound when it hits the pavement.
The funniest thing I've ever heard, there was a comedian, and we were talking about after our course, April Richardson is her name. And she said, I want my corpse marionetted around my coffin to the tune of yakety sax. And if you just imagine what
Benny
that would
Hill.
look like, but just like you're at a funeral and then the corpse and those jerky marionette motions, and that is a beautiful, beautiful nightmare vision that I.
Would you say that your family represented or reflected during your childhood and while living the sort of manifestation of what is after they've passed, which is there's no big departure. My meaning when people die in my family, the other family members are like, they did what dealers do when the shoe's done.
Sure.
We're out, right? But when I was 12, that's how they were. That's how I was raised. Like, we're out. We're not. It was wildly consistent with how they lived, is what I'm saying.
Mine is a tad more scabrous. I think it is a staunch refusal to deal with any form of adult responsibility.
Yes, I had a lot. My family had a lot of that too.
Yeah.
Yes, and also bizarre.
I needed brace, and now 6 of us. I needed braces.
Yes,
I needed glasses. Zilch.
Yeah. So being a parent really boils down to how much stuff are you willing to do that you don't really want to do or wouldn't have done on your own, or sort of wouldn't have done for somebody else's kid who you did not know at all. You know what I mean? So and it really boils down to that. So let's see if we can break this down.
Yeah, but don't you, I mean,
yes,
I think I'm normal in the sense that I derive tremendous, and it's probably because we grew up the way we grew up. I derive tremendous gratification from helping out my kids or their friends. Well, or it's like that. It's like, no, you don't. You can. I like doing that job. I love that job. The when my daughter came into our lives, my first thought was, it's no longer about me,
Right.
which I found a tremendous relief.
Well, I think you and I share this, which nobody in my family shared this thought, which is I feel like I would like to realize whatever the request is. So, like, I've had many a night where I'd just be sitting in my office in my bathrobe at 10 at night. And then, my daughter was like 16, and she'd just walk into my office and she'd go, I want to practice driving. Can we go out for a drive? And I'd go, oh yeah. I would like stand up.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go, give me a half an hour, or I wouldn't say anything. I'd just go, yeah, okay. And I'd just stand up and I'd start putting sweatpants on and walking like toward the car because she wanted to go for a drive. I wasn't like, I felt like, oh, the princess must be made happy and I must wait on every whim and every decision. I was just like, oh, she wants to do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also what that says, and it's the same thing with my kids, it's like, also, I'm so happy that my kids aren't afraid of me.
Yeah. They're just coming in and saying, and
like
so
we would not think to go into the room our dad was in and ask him to do something while he was
well, in the bathrobe at 10 at night, like no way.
I broke my collarbone in 1972 and my father took me to the hospital the minute the game ended.
That's right. The game he was watching.
Boston Bruins, St. Louis Blues.
Yes, not the game you played in to break
game
your...
he was watching on television.
TV. Right. Yes, in black and white.
Yep. And my mother didn't have a driver's license.
Couldn't see the
and
puck.
I sat in the kitchen with a broken collarbone, waiting for the hockey game to end.
Yes. And that was my childhood. And so
I still remember it.
Yes. And now I don't. So now the thing is I don't feel like I need to spoil my kids. I just remember little things like my daughter showed me this cool picture of a bed that was on a riser and the drawers pulled out from underneath. It was kind of a fort bed thing. And I'm a carpenter. And she showed it to me. She goes, could you build me one of those? And I was like, yeah, I could build that. And the following Monday, I was just building it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really questioning it, and I wasn't trying to delay it. It was just, this is what you want to do? Let's do it. And I don't know where we got that, but my parents, everything was a battle, and no, we can't afford it. We're not going to do it. And so, but let's just see if we can distill it down to this. I would like to keep 100% of my money, but I'm willing to give the government a percentage of it. And then there's braces and glasses and things, trips to the emergency room and space camp or what have you.
Trust me.
My son's been to Japan 2 times. I will die before I go to Japan because I can't afford it.
I understand.
That's the way I look at it.
I have 3 kids, and they've all seen Hamilton on Broadway.
Yes. I was literally...
And I have not.
I was flying home on Mark Geragos' jet. You had a picture of my son. Did I send that picture of you over there? I'm flying home on Mark's jet with my son, and I was like, where we been? And he's like, well, I've been out to Nashville with you to go see you, and then we went over to Florida to go do Tucker Carlson's thing, and then we went, every year we go to Laguna Seca up north to do the car race, and then I've seen you perform in Denver and Salt Lake City, and we start going through, and we're at like 11 or 12 places, and I hadn't left Valley Village by the time I was his age, much less had a discussion. But I mean, look, you can call it spoiled.
Is it his plane or is it like a private service?
It's Mark's plane.
Right.
So you can call it whatever you want. I just have an impulse to try. When my kids say, I would like to do this, my impulse is, how could I facilitate that? Like, how can we make this happen?
Because
yes,
you and I have a work ethic, and that is our job.
Right. My mom imparted 2 great pieces of wisdom to me. That's Sonny sitting before we take off over there.
Like Trump.
Over there in Geragos'
He looks a little like Robert Smith.
I had to use him by the way, in my performance that I perform on Mark's jet every time we get on a jet. Directly behind Sonny's seat is Mark's seat. Mark's seat is the same as all the seats on the jet, except for it has a sheepskin insert, which sort of connotes or denotes this is Mark's seat.
My chair.
Now, usually when I fly, Mike August is on that flight, and usually Geragos is the last person to get on the plane because he's out there doing whatever with whomever. And so then usually I have Mike August sit in Mark's chair, and then I wait for Mark to come onto the plane. And then when I notice he stepped onto the plane, I start screaming at Mike, get the fuck out of Mark's chair. God damn it. He's flying us for free, and you got the balls to come in here. But Mike wasn't there.
Nice.
So I told Sonny, sorry,
Sonny
go into Mark's chair and pretend like you're asleep. And then when Mark turns the corner and gets onto the plane, I'll violently shake you and turn my back to Mark and scream, get the fuck out of Mark's chair. This is insane. This man is so generous, and I can't believe you're sitting here, which worked nicely, I must say.
I just realized something. This is the kind of thing that you could expound upon. Elvis named his plane the Lisa Marie after his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
If that plane had crashed and killed Elvis, that would have destroyed his daughter.
Yeah. I agree.
This is why she grew up so normal.
This is why you don't go with the juniors, because the guy gets...
The name Frank Sinatra Jr. is child abuse.
It is.
It's child abuse.
And at some point, or they go off and become a serial killer, and then you have the same license as them.
If John Lennon said to his kid, you can have a band, but it has to be called the Beatles Jr.
Right.
Yeah.
So... all I want to do is sort of do whatever my kids want to do, sort of within reason. And our parents, I think, wanted to do the least amount humanly possible, but that included everybody. And being related to them didn't sway them, right? So my mom was consistent. She didn't want to do anything. My mom gave me, there's two things burned in my head. First off, I said to her, why don't you get a job? If you get a job, then we could have a car and like nice stuff, if you just get a job. Because when you're 9, you just think about a job. You don't know what job. Right. Just get a job so we could get a piece of furniture or something. And she goes, if I get my job, I'll lose my welfare. And I remember thought, that's an amazing message to send to your 9-year-old.
Yeah.
But the other message, which is good, is at some point I figured out, because for her, I go, it was always, how expensive gas is? Like, could I get a ride to Teddy Lewis's house in Van Nuys? You know how much gas is? Could you imagine talking to your kid about the price of fuel? But all right, do you know how much gas is? So I had done the math. She's driving a VW Squareback.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 30 miles to the gallon, 4-banger, air-cooled. I go, Teddy's house is probably 4 miles from here. Your car gets 30 miles to the gallon. So that's like 8 miles round trip. So that's not even a third of a gallon. And gas is like 71 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
So I think it costs like 20 cents to give me a ride. And she goes, every time you start the car, it costs money. Belts, oil, wear and tear. Every time it costs money. It's not just and I'm thinking, I look back, I was like, you're a 46-year-old woman. This is a conversation you're having?
Now, my mom was pretty was very caring person. She was she didn't like to say no to you. She wasn't that. But then there were things that, it was insanity, early 70s, mid 70s. And I was walking down the street one day. I'll never forget this. I was in New York, and it hit me out of the blue. Wasn't thinking about it, that our mother used to hit us with a board.
Wow.
She had a piece of like a 2x4, but it was whittled down. It looked like a Hobbit sword.
Mm-hmm.
It had a little handle, and it was about 2 feet. And she would use it to stuff clothes down into the washing machine and hit us on the back of the legs.
Chase you around the Shire?
And hit us on the back of the leg. I mean, the poor woman was alone with 5 boys. I mean, and
I got the spoon treatment, backhand with the spoon. Okay.
Wooden spoon?
Yeah, wooden spoon.
No, not a pleasant feeling. So I call my brother. Like literally, I'm walking down the street in New York. I call my brother, same brother that I just said to him. I call my brother Kevin, and I go, from a payphone.
A payphone?
Yeah, this is how old the story was. I go, remember the board?
Yeah.
Because that was I'll get the board. Do you want me to get the board?
Right.
And he goes, yeah, of course I remember the board. And I go, I totally forgot about it. I just remembered it. And he says, did I ever tell you what happened to the board? I went, no. He goes, oh yeah, I was about 15, 16. Mom came at me with it, and I just took it out of her hand and said, did you want this? And that was the end of the board.
Wow. Stood up to the chairman. All right. Well, we could regale you all with horrible stories.
Horrible stories of our abused childhoods. Paid for itself.
I was saying to this, and maybe you guys, I mean, Dana and I are the same age, so I remember this. I was talking to Dr. Drew, and once a year I talk to Dr. Drew, and I marvel not only at our own parents, but their friends and just other adults, you know what I mean, who were sort of around in a peripheral way. And I could remember like going over to Chris Bohm's house because there was no food in my house. So I was always like a raccoon in a dumpster. I'd open the pantry and I'd see instant pudding. I'd be like, let's make some pudding. Let's make some pudding, because my house was dry. And I had no money. And so but I remember one night sort of waking up at like 10, and I would get up at night and I would sneak into their kitchen and open the pantry door and get a bunch of Triscuits or something and some peanut butter, good kind of peanut butter, Skippy Smooth, you know. And I remember once like just having my head in the pantry, and Chris's mom, Barbara Bohm, her stupid friend Louise, who just single mom, living in an apartment like down the street with a teenage son, like turned the corner and went like, excuse you. And I was like, huh? Son, is that your pantry? And I was like, no. Are those your Triscuits? Oh, God. Like, no. Well, then you march yourself back. And I thought, at the time, it was all just fear and, oh, my God, I was so fucking Louise. God damn it. Shame and fear. And I didn't pay for the Triscuits. I said, could you imagine?
No, I can't.
As an adult, like walking into someone's house and seeing their kid's friend, like, and you're eating something and you turn the corner, here comes Mr. Gould. He's got a head of steam. What are you doing those Funyuns, son? Like, where did the energy come from? I was a kid. I was clearly emaciated eating Triscuits. I was eating 10 cents worth of Triscuits. Why the animation? What's in it for you? Thank you for terrorizing me. And yes, I feel a lot of shame. Where did these adults?
I don't know.
Where did these adults come from?
It's funny. That was the opposite of I will say that was the opposite of my mother, the board, because we lived by the cemetery, but there was a baby boom, and there was like 15 kids within a 5-year age range. Mm-hmm. And we just moved in a herd.
Right.
And it was a block, and we would all just walk into each other's houses.
Right.
We didn't knock.
Right.
We just walked in.
Right.
It was like a big
Could you go get something out of the pantry?
Yes, but my mother would stick a sandwich. She would hear the door open and make a sandwich and give it to you before you sat. My friends used to say when my mom died, and I talked to my friends and said that your mom would go from 0 to sandwich in half a second.
Oh, yeah. A saint.
Yeah, she was to that end. Yeah, she was.
Joe, you can find a picture of my mom's kitchen, which is awesome. But to me, a pantry was an exotic locale.
Sure.
I never knew I didn't know what a pantry was. We had cupboards. We had up ones and low ones, but there was no pantry. Well, we didn't need a pantry because that's where the fun stuff was. But I just marvel at then you have kids and I would come home and my kids' friends were like sitting around eating, and I just, how you doing? And I'd walk past them.
Do you know what almond moms are? Yeah, this is the thing we missed. But my wife's mom was an almond mom. Still is. There you go. Look at that wallpaper.
What?
I can show you pictures of my mom's kitchen. Paint coming off of everything. No counter space. The sink.
TV on the dishwasher. Love it.
The upper cabinets hung out as far as the sink. Mm-hmm. So you were staring, you had your face in a cabinet if you're watching Dish. And I used to drink from the sink and then hit my head on the upper cabinet.
That really does look like the camera's going to move in and we're going to see a head in the sink. This does look like Ed Gein's cabin.
I'll get a nice shot of the caulking on the back of the sink and the paint coming off the cabinet. And the linoleum floor, the vinyl floor worn out.
We had that linoleum. We had that the brown square linoleum.
We wore the fake wood grain off of it, and now there's just a tan spot where Mom stood and did the dishes.
GAF? What was it? GAF?
Yes, they make life linoleum better, or whatever it is. Yeah.
But Henry Fonda did the commercial.
Oh my God!
Wow,
that's rough.
But
looks like
almond moms. Almond moms are the sort of just a generation behind our parents who. Very health food conscious, no soda, no snack, no soda, no cookies, no chips. And my wife's mother and her sister both are very close. And so they were like, I'm either at aunt's or my mom's, and there were no fun food.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's my
literally, my wife was telling me the story that her aunt would say to make breakfast, she'd have like frosted mini wheats. And she's like, how many do you want?
How many units?
Yeah, like 4 mini wheats.
Right.
And that my wife one day is a legend in the family because she stood up as a little girl and poured a proper bowl of cereal and went, I want this many.
Wow.
This is the normal amount of mini wheats.
Right. And now she can't orgasm unless she's being choked.
Well, things work out. I believe it was the movie Jurassic. Nature finds a way.
Oh man. Oh, Substack question. My parents ever gave me money that asked to bring back change? No, because they didn't have paper money. They had change. So any money would have been the exact change.
Were you ever sent to get cigarettes?
I was.
Yeah, me too.
But Dad's like, give me some cigarettes. I'm like, Dad, I'm 12.
Yeah, I walk to the store with a note. Please sell my son a pack of Vantage.
Vantage.
So my mother smoked.
Newports.
My family didn't drink or smoke, which is bizarre because they're all the manifestations of drinking and smoking without the motivation of the drinking and the smoking.
I cannot make that claim, my friend.
Yes. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll do some news right after this.
Hey, I'm Adam Carolla. That's Brad Williams and Jay Leno. Hey, buddy. Over there, we're doing our 3rd annual comedy fantasy camp. That's going to be January 23rd through the 26th, right in Hollywood, California. Where else would it be? These guys are going to be there.
So remember, 2 out of every 3 comics make it big.
Well, 1.5.
Do I get paid for this? Please tell me I get paid for this.
Go to comedyfantasycamp.com and get in on the fun.
Him's hair. Men, when we leave the house, we check for the phone, you check the wallet, you check for your keys. But what about the hair? How's the hair look? Are you experiencing a little hair loss? Well, may hurt the confidence a little bit. And you want to get that confidence back. And that's where Hims comes in. They provide a range of doctor-trusted hair loss treatments, chewable, oral, spray, and serum as well. All from the comfort of your own couch. You can just do it all online. Simple, 100% online process. Just answer a few questions and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you and which treatment should be prescribed to you. Treatment is sent straight to your door, direct, It's just going to be between you and your dog. No one else going to know about this. No insurance needed. One low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. It's Hims Hair, right, Dawson?
Start your free online visit today at hims.com/Adam. That's HIMS.com/Adam for your personalized hair loss treatment options. hims.com/Adam. Results vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Look, none of us know what's coming. Another wave of COVID, a brutal flu season. Heck, I'm out here in California talking about bird flu coming now. It could be worse. Whatever, be prepared this time. You can't afford to get caught off guard. I think we all did last time. When chaos hits, it'll be too late to scramble and to prepare. You prepare now, before the chaos. All Family Pharmacy has the treatments no one wants to talk about, but everyone needs. Ivermectin, mebendazole, hydrochloroquine, antibiotics, and more. Don't let politics or big pharma keep you from what works. Prepare now before the next wave hits. Stock up for winter. Go to allfamilypharma.com/Adam. That's allfamilypharma.com/Adam. Use the coupon Adam10 for 10% off your order. That's allfamilypharma.com/Adam with the code Adam10 and save that 10%. Be prepared.
Here's a memorable moment from the Adam Carolla Show's Ace Awards archives.
Hugh, I saw the dailies, and you did. I gotta look at me. You got 41 minutes outside of the Bun Boy. We got to tighten this up. We've got to pick up the pace.
I understand, but when it comes to something called a Bun Boy, I am the expert.
Yeah, no,
Don't miss the 2024 Ace Awards this December. Now back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Dana Gould in studio. Yeah, we were just ruminating off the air about the confusion of the parents. You know what I mean? But listen, I feel that way about parents who molest their kids. It's like, it doesn't compute.
No, that's
like,
what I mean.
I'm like, I don't get why you would do any of this stuff.
I don't know if it could be a class thing. Like, we were lower working class. And that the parents were just bitter and angry because they were bitter and angry. I can't see how, like, a generation evolved to, like, the next generation will love their kids. Like, isn't that a biological imperative?
But yeah, you can find
Giraffes
a picture.
love their kids.
You can find a picture, Joe, of my family in my grandparents' backyard sitting around a picnic table when my grandfather was sort of normal, would barbecue some chicken drumsticks every once in a while. Never steak or any red meat, but it was too expensive. But you can see my family. You can see what's on their faces, downtrodden, depressed, angry.
No, I don't have a photo of my dad. I have photos of my dad all over my phone, and there's no smile.
It's an interesting concept because the photo sort of captures everyone. You'll see me painting on a smile, sort of attempting to be the clown and try to make everyone happy. My mom hated her mom who was taking the picture. So my mom looked the other way right before, because she went 1, 2, 3, back when you had to count down a picture.
Yeah, sure.
And my mom just looked the other direction the second it was time. She wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of taking a picture. My dad had a kind of like,
look at your mother looking the other way.
5,000-yard stare, like a Vietnam vet had seen way too much. Now, understand, my grandmother stood up and got a Nikon camera out and said, "We are going to take a photograph." Now, it is clear that we're taking a photograph because my sister has her head craned around, but she's so broken at this point, she can't paint on a smile either. Yeah. My grandfather, old school Hungarian Jew, is craning his head around because she's announced, "I'm taking a picture." I am trying to find the lens, and putting on a smile, which is what I would try to do.
You've honed in on your key light.
And my dad is just went, I'm dead inside. I can't believe I'm married to the shrew. What am I doing here? And my mom literally turned her head the opposite direction, away from the camera, even though my mother was oriented toward the camera. So my grandmother, her mom, who she always called Helen and never Mom, picked a position that was 12 o'clock and straight ahead with my mom, so she wouldn't have to turn her head around, right?
If you just cropped out your sister and re-cropped that photo of just your mom and dad and called it Marriage by Diane Arbus,
Tell the story.
I would believe Diane Arbus took that photograph.
Yes. My mother,
it's all there, and it's not much.
And she put her hand on her chin and looked the other direction.
She's scowling.
Yes, she is a conscientious objector to this photo. And my dad recognized
a photo of mine.
Recognized the photo. The photo's being taken, but could not even fake a smile at this stage of the game with the two kids.
Yeah, that's my dad. I will find a photo of my dad, and whatever photo comes up, he ain't smiling.
Now, my grandfather's trying, I'm trying, and my sister's semi-trying.
But there's my mom. She's making food. She's happy.
Oh, she's an attractive woman, by the way.
She was a beautiful woman. She was a beautiful woman. But my dad, not smiling.
All right. Sorry. We'll find it. We'll get the news.
There he is. There he is. That's the grin you're going to
get. Shirt off.
Oh, yeah. He would rather put a gun in his mouth than put on a shirt. I'm not lying.
Well, in the news today, we have a San Francisco Health Department hires a fat positivity expert to consult on weight stigma and neutrality.
Yeah. I saw this somewhere online.
Yeah. Virgie Tofar, the author of You Have the Right to Remain Fat and other published works on fat positivity and body acceptance.
Is that a gal who's fat or a fella who's now a gal? I'm very confused these days.
That looks
She's a plus-size Latina author, lecturer, and leading expert on weight-based discrimination and body positivity.
Who started as a woman, but okay.
Also looks like Mo Howard if Mo Howard played his own wife in one of the shorts.
That's right. Now, I know you have to be black if you're going to head up the, studies, whatever, the black studies at the college or whatever. That's a given. But do you have to be fat to head up the fat council?
We're of a certain age, and you're in pretty good shape. You're healthy. You go, I'm assuming you do your annual physical.
Sure.
And the dog goes, oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. Why bother?
Yeah.
What do you have in the morning? All I have for breakfast is coffee. What, you put milk in it? Yeah, I put a little bit 2%. Forget it.
Yeah.
Just eat a cake.
Yeah.
Just eat a whole cake.
Yeah.
But I was reading this book on longevity. Mm-hmm. And not that I want to live longer, but you want to be healthy and also, as my doctor says, medicine, the way medicine is now, imagine the Titanic heading towards the iceberg.
Right.
We've got all the plans on what to do once you hit the iceberg.
Right.
But we don't put any effort into avoiding the iceberg.
Right.
Let's avoid the iceberg.
Right.
In the 70s, the average weight of the American man, 173 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 200 pounds.
Yeah. The simplest equation I've ever heard was Vinnie Tortorich, a nutritionist, a friend came in here and he said, look at pictures of Woodstock.
Yeah, everybody's skinny.
That's what people look like.
Yeah.
Those weren't fitness models. They were just fucking people wanting to go see the Grateful Dead.
And a lot of it is...
They're all skinny.
And, and a lot of it is the way, our lifestyle and the way food is made now.
Yeah.
And the way it's served.
Yeah.
Is working against, we're not evolving as species at a rate to adjust to all this crazy fructose.
Yeah, but I look, you should.
So although if you're fat and you don't want to be made fun of, that's great.
Well,
but you're not at your healthiest.
No, in San Francisco, they're taking it all the way the other direction.
We want everybody to be healthy, and it's expensive to eat well, and that's not great.
This lady's argument is that that's not what anyone's getting at, what they're doing is pressuring people to be anorexic. They have a whole plan to talk less, not about how you or others eat at work. She does talk less. The rules are talk less or not at all about others' bodies at work. Talk less or not at all about exercise at work. She basically...
But she's employed by the city of San Francisco?
I believe it's sort of kind of DEI
famously conservative San Francisco.
Yeah, it just doesn't sound like the San Francisco I know.
The health
George
department.
S. Patton.
That's right.
The health department expert.
All right. We don't listen.
It's all about, are you healthy?
Are you healthy, and you're not healthy when you're fat, and so let's just focus on it from that standpoint.
They have this is the last thing I'll say about this. Is I'm starting to sound like RFK. There's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
They for billing codes, billing codes on your health insurance. They have a billing code for your doctor prescribing insulin.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a billing code for your doctor telling you what to eat to not become diabetic.
Right.
There's a focus. There's not a focus on prevention.
For me, it is, let's just say, more global in our approach, which is we are shaming these kids by giving them failing grades in their math tests. So we need to lower the bar and it's like, okay, we can reverse engineer everything.
Right.
We can invent a scale that says you weigh 161 when you weigh 261, and we can take somebody who says 2 and 2 is 5 and give them a passing grade. We can do any of that. I mean, if you really want to break it down, it's like, well, it took you so long to get from L.A. to New York. Well, no, it didn't. Give me your watch. I'll just change it back 4 hours. Okay. That is no approach to anything any of the time, and it's a little bit of the New World Order. Like, just tell the fat kid they're thin or you're proud of them. Tell the failing student they don't have to get the good grades. Lower this, adjust that. I mean, it's kind of it's where you go when you go, look, we want more female firefighters. And then you go, we don't have, what do we got now? We're at like 3%. Well, what's the problem? Well, the hose pack weighs 70 pounds and they got to make it over that 8-foot fence with the hose pack on, and women can't do that. Okay. We're going to have to figure out a way to invent a lighter hose or to coach the women. But the rule isn't lower the wall and make the hose pack 30 pounds, which will get more women into the fire department, but they're not really going to be the women you want in the fire department. So we've been doing this for a long time. Like, we're literally adjusting things so that we can get the kind of numbers you want. Schools are doing it now, where it's like, we don't have enough graduating people reading at grade level. Then lower the threshold for grade.
I think that,
so stop reverse. You can't go that direction. Figure out a way to get people to read better, do better math, clear the bar.
And all it is, and from the, is there a way to tell people something they don't want to hear without shaming them? Because that's all. It's just like avoiding feeling bad. And I get that. We have kids. We don't want to, we wouldn't shame our kids if they, but like, can you challenge people to do better without, I'm not saying you're an idiot if I fail you.
Right.
I'm saying that you need to work harder to do better.
I would also reckon or posit that I was a shit student. And I was a shit student, and I knew why I was a shit student. I did not do homework. I didn't work over the weekends. I didn't study. I didn't do any of the things that would have made me a good student. I knew it. I mean, you couldn't shame me because I knew why I was getting shit grades. It's because I wasn't working hard and I wasn't applying myself. And I would see all the other guys bring home the notebooks and the books. And I'd say, you want to go out Friday night? I got homework. I got a book report. And I go, not me. Except for I did. I just didn't do it. And everybody knows the difference between a donut and an apple and a piece of cake and a hard-boiled egg. They know it. Yeah. They just don't want to do it. I get it. I want the donuts and no homework. I like that life. I don't think I don't think you're really shaming them. I think you're telling them something they already know.
No, but it's yes, I agree with you. But I think a lot of that comes from we don't want anyone to feel bad.
Yes.
Well, they're not feeling, teaching somebody something is, they don't feel bad if they don't know something.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And on some of the better, more, moments in my life where somebody telling me, hey, what are you doing? You're better than this. You're failing.
Yes.
I don't know why you're wasting your time doing this. I'd have people tell me that.
Yeah. I remember the great Kevin Rooney, the late, great Kevin Rooney. I middled for him at the Improv in Dallas. And I was an angry young man. And
Given your background.
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
Yeah.
And I walked off stage, and it was the first time I'd never worked with him. I was kind of nervous. And he said, the audience wants to like you, but they're waiting to see if you like them. And I was by order of magnitude, a better comedian the next show. Because I smiled, even though I didn't feel it. And he gave me, gave me great advice my whole career.
I talked to a friend of mine from high school. I hadn't spoken to in a while. I got some land up in Oregon, and it's next to his land.
That's where your cult is based, isn't
selling it. Yeah, that's from them putting down stakes.
The Carollis?
Yeah.
Cult?
Yeah. We're doing high C, but that's fine. But
they all get the sneakers.
Yes.
Sneakers.
I'm going to skim the cream off of every good cult thing and make a super cult.
Carolla Town?
Yeah. So I was talking to my friend Carl on the way in, and I was talking about he's got a little land. He's a school teacher now, lives up there, and I got some land next to him and selling it off and whatever. But I remember being in Alex Arato's kitchen with him and Alex when I was like 19, ganging up on me, going, they're both off to college.
Right.
And I was hanging around trying to get my job back at the Flask Liquor and sleeping in my parents' garage and taking a unit at Valley College, and they both just like confronted me in the kitchen. They were like, what's wrong with you? And I go, I don't know, I'm just kind of trying to find my way, and they're like, you're a loser. Like, what are you doing with your life? One friend's off at Berkeley, the other one's off at Santa Barbara. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't. And they're like, well, you're smart and you're funny, but you're a loser. What are you doing? You're wasting your life, man. And I was like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do, and they dug into me hard. And I remember like going, God damn it, they're right. Like, I'm a loser. And 12 years later, I met Jimmy Kimmel. And it all turned around. But I was like, wow, this is really painful because it's true. Everything they're saying is true.
Right.
And they were going at it pretty hard. But I was like, they're definitely making a point. And I should definitely try to get my shit together.
Right.
And I don't even know what that means, but this hurts, and I'm disappointing these guys, and I should get my shit together.
Yeah.
That
came from a place of love, kind of, like they're your bros.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted to know why their friend, who they thought was kind of a smart, interesting guy, was just sort of living in a garage and working odd jobs like around, and they were digging in too. Like, I mean, they were, jabbing a lot. There wasn't all altruistic. They were fucking having their fun with me. I couldn't deny it. It wasn't all from the heart. It was partly, but the message was heard loud and clear. Yes, you're a loser. You're not doing anything with your life. You should figure something out.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
Hey, got some celebrity news. Jim Carrey took a break from Hollywood to get out of people's faces. Yeah, he says, he took a break there for a while, but we're talking about it off the air. The big quote from this for me was, I came back to this universe, talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 3, because first of all, I get to play a genius, which is a bit of a stretch. I bought a lot of stuff, and I need the money, frankly.
Yeah, it's a money grab, right?
I can't imagine how he needs money.
Yeah. You think about that,
He's
because
not
they
married
play
to
the
my wife.
Grinch. Yeah, they play the Grinch every year, and so I'm sure he gets residuals from that.
He was making $20 million a movie.
But maybe he's stretched out far. I don't know. You buy a lot of stuff when you have a lot of money.
Like, didn't Nicolas Cage have like 7 castles?
Yeah, Nick Cage got into like some IRS trouble, had some castle issues. I don't know. He would buy, wasn't the bones of the Elephant Man, but he liked T-Rex heads and stuff like that. He liked that kind of stuff, and so he may have overextended himself a little bit. It's always funny. You were saying something funny about Jim Carrey off the air about taking the break and then coming back with Hedgehog kind of thing. And I felt that way when Jane Fonda took like 30 years off of acting, and it was always like, I just haven't found a role that's worth my time anymore, the material that spoke to me. After 30 years, comes back with Monster-in-Law with J-Lo.
Right.
Like the most formulaic, bad early 2000s rom-com ever created. And that's what drew you back into this craft of acting. Yes.
Moving on, liberal Supreme Court justice makes a cringe cameo performance on Broadway. I think you guys should just pretty much bring this up. It speaks for itself. The written by contemporary playwright.
Ketanji Brown on a Broadway and a sort of, I don't know what we call it, trans or bi or whatever play.
It's a non-binary play called Anne Juliet. Reimagines Juliet if she did not commit suicide and go on to be like an independent young woman.
All right, we'll watch it and then I'll hit Dana with a quiz question.
Oh boy.
We got it somewhere.
Give us a second.
Oh, okay.
You know how crazy I am about Broadway musicals.
Yeah, I love Broadway musicals.
You're on Instagram.
Yeah.
Do you see Broadway Barbara?
No.
Oh, I'll show it to you. It's hilarious.
I like Miss Saigon and Wicked and all that. I'll watch all that stuff. I love all that stuff. The thing
who's crazy about Broadway musicals? Crazy about Broadway musicals? Goldthwait.
Bobcat.
Bobcat is like the cabaret poster in his house.
Really?
Yeah.
I will say,
straight as an arrow. Oh man,
I wouldn't guess that. Yeah, that's interesting.
No, it's crazy.
I will say, one of the things I like about Broadway. Well, we'll play the clip.
I'm just looking at this clip. This is bad.
Yes.
Female empowerment. Sick. I like it too. I think what I like about it is that I am having a very strongly negative reaction to it. Like I hate it. Which makes me think it must be brilliant.
What is happening?
And it got super woke. But okay. I'm going to give you this quiz question. I watched this clip earlier this morning when I was a guest on Megyn Kelly's show. Do you think...
Was that a part of the segment Megan Spank Bank?
Yeah, they're all Megan Spank Bank. Do you think she applauded this? Now, hear me out. Or took umbrage with it, the great Megyn Kelly?
No, I don't know if there's anything to take umbrage to, but it's...
you don't know Megyn Kelly.
No, I don't, but it's an eye... We probably voted for different people.
Yes.
But... It's an eye roller. I'm pretty in the middle of stuff.
I listen. I don't want to sound old fashioned, but I do like the Broadway of yore. A sort of traditional Broadway. You can have newer themes and twists and things like that. But once you just go full woke, if you go woke and sort of trans and gay and whatever. For the sake of that, then I don't want to do it. If it's part of your story, then that's fine. But I like Broadway because I think it's sort of humans at their best. And I'm not talking about woke shit. I'm just talking about a traditional Broadway play. You have all these different people in an orchestra. I mean, if you really take it and you just go, why is this country great? And also, I don't think there's any equivalent of this in the Middle East, and I think I think they suffer for it. What I'm saying is first somebody builds the theater,
right?
Like physically builds a beautiful palace for this. Then somebody writes it and writes the music, and there's the promoters, and there's everything. Then there's all the actors who study. Then there's the orchestra. People have been playing the oboe since they were 6 years old. All different ages, all different backgrounds, all different genders, all different races, and they all come together and they create this beautiful machinery, this Swiss timepiece of timing and music and laughter and pathos. And I go, this is human. Like if I'm talking to an alien race and they go, I want to see us at our worst. I'll go, all right, let me take you down and I'll take you to a
Walmart.
I'll take you to a tunnel in Hamas.
Right.
And you can see this is us. This is what we're capable of. And that 4-year-old was abducted. You know what I mean? That's it. You want to see us at our best? Here we go.
Right. I remember seeing the Book of Mormon.
Right.
And that first giant number where they're all stepping up and stepping down. It's all integrated. And I was like, not only can I not do that, I can't imagine how someone can do that.
Right.
Or like if you ever see like Cirque du Soleil, like one of those huge, crazy, like those crazy Cirque du Soleil shows. Like I am at a loss.
Right.
But yeah, I don't. Here's an example, and I said this to somebody like I don't watch Megyn Kelly. But there was an article in the paper about an actress from Oppenheimer, and her name is like Eve Bennett or something, but she, in her private life, wants to be known as Noah, and she identifies as trans-masculine, non-binary. Mm-hmm. And my whole reaction is, so?
Yeah.
Why do I have to know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree.
I like corn chips.
Right.
That's me.
That's me.
Does that have to be in the paper?
No, it's not on my license plate frame. It's nothing. Yes, I feel that way about most of life, which is why do I need to know?
So great, good for her. Him, great. Right. I don't care, and I say, and by the way, I think most people think this way. It's like I don't say I don't care, like F you.
Yeah.
I mean, like literally, I don't. Good. I don't care.
Well, I don't care about your sexuality regardless of what it is. If you're hetero
I don't
or whatever
care.
you are, that's sort of none of my business, and I'm not that interested.
And isn't that what you want?
Yes.
Don't you want to just be a person?
But I also think they want to project it and be able to be in that space, like kind of step into your mind and make you change your mind.
Recognize my specialness. And I can see that if you are somebody that is, that society victimizes, that's a whole different
I think that's the whole premise. I think that's the whole premise,
but,
is that they feel non-binary, so they have to announce it.
But people don't, by and large, human beings do not like radical change. Mm-hmm. And it always has to be done in a way that you don't see it and feel it. Otherwise, there's a knee-jerk reaction to oppose change.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Grant Cardone.
We will fight in the street.
Is going to come on. He's an entrepreneur. He's an author. He's a very interesting guy. We'll talk about financial literacy. Dana. Now, I got the podcast, the Dana Gould Hour, and we got the live dates here, but this is Dr. Z Presents Christmas with a Z, that I'm such a fan of Bill Hader, by the way.
So funny.
So funny. Quietly funny, and I'm going to say...
A lot of characters.
We had a Barry, and then we had a Barry reunion because Stephen Root was in the audience, and he came up and joined us for a while.
Oh, he's great, too.
Yeah. He's a crazy genius.
Yes.
Him and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So live dates and tickets, and we can stream it. How do we do that?
Go to Dana Gould on Instagram or anywhere, and you'll see the link in the bio. And that's probably the easiest way to get it.
All right, we're gonna have Grant Cardone zoom in, and we'll do that right after this.
And that's great.
Or a digital picture frames. Oh, what most people really want for the holidays is to see their favorite people more often. So this year, the best gift you can give is an Aura digital picture frame. It's really insane technology. All the great photos coming up magically in your Aura digital picture frame. Named the #1 digital photo frame by Wirecutter, so you know it's good. Incredibly smart and easy to use. Upload unlimited photos and videos direct from your phone right to your frame, or you can order the frame online and preload it with photos and videos using the Aura app. So it's ready right out of the box. What a gift. Again, you know, people get ties and they get fruit cake and bad sweaters, but this one keeps giving, especially around the holidays. It's Aura digital picture frame, right, Dawson?
Save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver mat frames by using promo code Carolla at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code Carolla. The deal is exclusive to our listeners, so get yours now in time for the holidays. Terms and conditions apply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts is in the business of keeping your car on the road. They offer friendly, helpful service and parts and knowledge that you're going to need to maintain and do the repairs yourself. Always used O'Reilly. I've used to hit the one up on Foothill when I was in La Crescenta renting a house, keeping that Isuzu Trooper on the road. And they got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in their store or online. So you have, you don't have to worry if you're in a jam. You can go online and get your stuff. You can go into a store and get your stuff. The team at O'Reilly Auto Parts can test your battery for free in or out of your car, which is nice because sometimes it's tough to get those babies out of the car. You need your windshield wipers replaced, brake light fixed, or a quick service? Well, they'll help you find the right part or point you to the nearest local repair shop as well and get help there. Whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you're going to find the employees at O'Reilly Auto Parts are knowledgeable, helpful, and best of all, they're friendly. The professional parts people at O'Reilly. O'Reilly Auto Parts. One-stop shop for everything, especially if you're a do-it-yourselfer for your car. In-store, online. You can stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and do it today, or visit us online, O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'Reilly.com. Well, Grant Cardone is our guest zooming in. He's an entrepreneur. He's a teacher. He's a mentor. It's got a lot of interesting things going on, considering running for governor of California. That'd be nice. And we can talk about other ventures as well. Good to see you, Grant.
Good to see you, Adam. I love the song. Did you write those lyrics yourself?
No, I simply inspire people.
Well, I tell you, I moved away 12 years ago. I was forced out of the state because they're so unfriendly to business owners and entrepreneurs and people that are paying taxes.
Yes, I know it. I know it. They're easy on crime, but they're tough on taxpayers.
They are.
And they really are. And I talk about this all the time. I would say, the city, Forest Lawn Drive. Goes along Forest Lawn, right between the studio and Forest Lawn. On one side of the street, there's a bunch of illegals selling flowers under the table, undercutting the brick and mortar places that are selling flowers. Totally legal, black market, boom. On the other side of the street is a cop and a motorcycle cop with a radar gun trying to bust taxpayers that are going 4 miles an hour faster than the posted speed limit. That's it. If you want to know in a nutshell what encapsulates Los Angeles and California, that's it. The law is trying to give a ticket to the taxpayer and totally turning a blind eye to the folks on the other side of the street.
you got a shortage of housing, and then they let millions of people come in that don't have a house.
Yes. So, I mean, here's the question, and I don't want to go over my skis, but people are like genuinely excited about the potential of Trump. And the potential of Trump meaning, and I've been screaming about it ever since they put a microphone in front of my face 30 years ago. I just want to run it like a business. Just get some guy in there who can cut deals and make businesses. It's such a waste. What are we doing? You know what I mean? Why are we leaving so much money on the table? Let's get it together, whatever works. And for the first time ever, and maybe because we hit our saturation point with Biden and Harris and Gavin Newsom and all the other fuck-ups, at some point, even my normal sort of Democratic left-leaning friends are kind of going, yeah, maybe we should cut some of this stuff and be more efficient. Like maybe there's a renaissance here. Maybe there's a time for someone like you, Grant.
Maybe, I mean, the state's got to get to the place where it wants change. And I think a lot of people, I lived there 25 years. I moved from Texas where I paid 0%, had businesses there, moved to California because I love the state. I mean, it's beautiful, unbelievable resources, probably the greatest resource this country has. Mm-hmm. And moved there, I started paying 10%, lived there 25 years. I had no problem with 10%. And then they yanked to 13. Now they want to go to 14.4. And it's not just the raising of the taxes, it's wasting of the money. It's not like they're doing anything better with the roads or the schools. It's deteriorated.
Right.
And so I never complained, Adam, one time in 25 years of the taxes I paid. I thought it was a fair trade. And then they spiked again. We moved everything. We sold the house. We sold our cars, the businesses, moved to Florida. That has cost the state, one taxpayer, and I'm just one of many, millions of people that have left the state. That costs the state $1 billion in tax revenue.
One person, guy. You.
That didn't count Elon leaving or Toyota that left 15 years ago. And this is just going to continue to go on. I mean, look, Arizona has been the biggest benefactor of the California craziness, the insanity. And so the way to fix it is with simple math. You basically start incentivizing people to take care or handle the affordable housing thing. There's no affordable housing there. You cannot build it with government regulations. I was doing a debate with Bill, what's his name from New York, the loser from New York.
Bill de Blasio?
Yeah, dude, like his solution to the housing thing is more Section 8. Nobody wants to live in Section 8 housing.
Yeah.
Okay. Housing has to become affordable again for the middle class. You can't even figure that out.
By the way, Grant, when you say the loser from New York, you're going to have to narrow it down a little bit.
You're right. You're right. You see, same problem over there. These guys, Illinois, New York, California, they all adopt these crazy regulations.
Yes. Well, look, they don't. Okay. They're not in touch with reality. I mean, when I was.
They can't do basic math.
No, it's basic 100%. Like, but if you can find, Dawson, the clip of Jane Fonda, who was on Bill Maher's show a week and a half ago on his podcast, she encapsulated those people perfectly, which is, I've interviewed Gavin Newsom and I've heard Gavin Newsom on shows. I really don't think he knows what's going on. And I know that sounds insane that he doesn't know what's going on, but I don't think he really does understand what's going on, or maybe he's in some sort of denial about it. But when you can watch this clip of Jane Fonda, and Jane Fonda just sort of represents everyone in California who's making decisions. I'm not going to say the average Californian. I'm going to say the people in charge of California. Listen to Bill Maher and listen to her answers.
You really don't believe that the state we live in, California, is lacking regulation. There's over 300,000 regulations. I mean, Well,
maybe they're needed.
They're not. When I tried to put in a garage door, I had to have 3 inspections. There should have been none. I should be allowed to change my garage door.
Are you kidding? Really? It was about a garage door?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that is...
No, you know this about California. Come
No,
on.
I don't.
Well,
I'm sorry, I don't.
You've never heard that California is overtaxed and overregulated? That we are a one-party state where there's sort of no checks on that sort of extreme leftism. And that, what do you think?
I don't for a minute consider California a state that is extreme leftist. Not at all, not any way.
Well, that shows where your politics are. That's not where mine.
All right, so he says there's 300,000 regulations, and she just goes, they're needed. I think she represents like the Los Angeles City Council and Sacramento and Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass and their ilk. They think they can fix it with more regulations.
When's the last time she had a job?
Let's see.
When's the last time that she hired anyone?
Barbarella 2 in 1971.
And Mara needs to get his jacket sleeves cut a little longer because there's not like that much cuff or just not wear the jacket at all.
He's already shopping in the junior department, so there's nothing he can do. Yeah.
Look, the fact that she doesn't know there's 300,000 regulations means she should not be speaking on politics. I mean, she has the right to do whatever she wants, but this is the math part.
Well, it's not that she doesn't understand there's 300,000 regulations. She understands it and says, good, maybe there'll be more. I mean, that's really who these people are. Now, here's the hopeful news. If Trump does whatever Trump is going to do, and I think it's going to work, if he does that, the other satellites like California, Oregon, Washington, these places, maybe Illinois, these places are going to have to go, maybe these guys know something. Like maybe we should adopt some of this and try to save our state.
But you wonder, I mean, California's watching Texas grow. They're watching Florida grow. Miami's going to become a freaking mecca. New York City's watching Miami grow at rates we've never seen. We've had more migrant influx from California and Florida. We never had that. I mean, we're hitting record levels of Californians moving all the way into this humidity.
Right.
That was prohibited in the past. Like nobody would leave your beautiful, no humidity state to come to Florida. Now they are. They're going to Texas where it's flat, no mountains, no beauty, no aesthetics. They're moving into hurricane seasons because the state of California is running people off. They're unfriendly to business and they're friendly to illegals.
Yeah, no, I get it. And so sadly, you have to hit your sort of bottom and a saturation level. So
That's right.
It would be nice if people would have figured out which way the wind was blowing 15 or 20 years ago and say, let's stop this before we hit our bottom. But apparently we have to hit our bottom. And as we near our bottom, it is in tandem with an example of what could work. Joe Biden and his ilk and his cabinet and Kamala Harris, you see what they're doing, and then you see what California's doing, and you go, there's really there's not any real difference between his fuck-ups and our fuck-ups. But if you saw an example of somebody who was out there getting it and crushing it, and we're starting to see that. We see it in Texas. We see it in Florida. If we saw it on a national level, then maybe that would inspire some change.
Well, I think they're angry. I think California, all my friends that are still there, they're angry.
Right.
And they're starting to see it hit their pocketbooks. I think you guys are going to 14.4%. That'll piss some more people off. Your gas tax is going to go to $2 a gallon in 30, I think it is. So for every gallon you buy, there'll be an extra $2 tax. That'll be fun for everybody there. And then the people will stand up and they'll do what the country just did, which is they're going to vote their pocketbooks.
Right.
Unfortunately, the wealthy have already been walking out of California. We're hacking the system. I'll admit I'm a hacker. I left and I still visit. I still have a home there. I don't pay any tax, but I come use your resources like it's a prostitute.
Yeah, thank you. We have
no tipping either. Zero tipping.
Oh, no. I didn't even get a towel thrown at me.
I've used your roads, your grocery stores, your Malibu, all the beauty, and I just walk out. I live there 180 days and I leave.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you, though. The roads, I don't know, they're so bad. I don't know if the joke may be on you. But there is a great clip, speaking to this, that we play once a year of Gavin Newsom talking to Kara Swisher, I think. It's the radio show. We have it somewhere. It's about 3 years old, maybe 4 years old, but he doesn't understand what's going on. And he's busy giving speeches talking about protecting California from Trump when everyone wants Trump. That's what we voted for, which is kind of insane. I know you're thinking about running for governor. That would be nice. It'd be nice if we had someone who knew how to run a business, running the business of California. But I'll play you this clip. And the reason I find it fascinating and sort of dumbfounding is this is 4 years ago, maybe 5, and Kara Swisher is saying people are leaving. What's the plan? And you can listen to his response.
Former Governor Brown said it best, where the hell are you going to go? And, I love Texas. Don't get me wrong.
Is that the new California motto? Where the hell are you going to go?
I don't know, but he said it. But it was an interesting point, because where are you going to get so many of the other things in the balance sheet?
But you are aware that I've lived there for 2 decades, essentially. And this is the first time I've had people really talking about not being there and not that they could figure it out somewhere else. I don't think that's true. I think they can figure out where they're going to go.
Yeah, and then that meets, but it's not a zero-sum game.
Right.
Okay, I have a friend who just went to Utah. Beautiful. It may be the right thing for him. They've made a ton of money. They have the ability to take their kids out of public school into private school, and they're doing that. And, I imagine they're not going to turn their back forever on California.
Did you get what that answer was?
No place to go. Like he's never traveled.
People are leaving California.
690,000 people left last year.
Right. But
if they earn $120,000 a year, it's $82 billion of revenue. If it's just income, not spending, not groceries, not cars, nothing.
I know.
I was there. I have a home in Malibu, and I was at I've never been interested in Tesla. And we happened to be in that little grove right there in Malibu, and they have a Tesla shop there. And
I live in Malibu, so I know it well. How'd you do with the fire, by the way?
I wasn't there for the fire, so
I know. Sorry. How did your dwelling do with the fire?
It's fine.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm wandering in the little market there, and this is Elon's starting to get a lot of heat for supporting Trump. I walked into the Tesla store. I said, "Hey, tell me about your cars." They tell me about the cars. I said, "Are you getting some flap from the left?" He's like, "Yeah, every day we have somebody walk in here and say, 'Here's my keys. I can't support Elon anymore.'" I said, "I'll buy 2 cars right now."
Right.
That's what's going to happen.
Yes.
People are going to support. They're going to vote. And this is what happened with Trump. Trump pulled this thing off. It's going to be good for everybody. You got some super wealthy guys. I mean, these guys are super wealthy, very successful. They're going to go into D.C. and they're going to fucking shake this thing up. And if they pull it off, I think the first 90 days, Adam, is going to be phenomenal. I think it's going to shock the world. I've talked to Vivek about it and some of the other guys over there. And the plans are to shake this thing up big time.
Yeah.
Now,
so my question is, and I agree, and I anticipate that as well. I don't think Trump could do it in his first season.
The country wasn't ready the first time.
The country wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. He didn't know what he was up against. He didn't know how deep the state was and how many embedded people were in there, and the FBI and the CIA. He did not know how putrid and deep the state ran, and he, I think, naively assumed that everybody around him was cheering for him and wanted what was best for him and the country, and they certainly did not, and that covered a lot, and he learned his lesson. Also, he was running for a second term, so you would have to handle COVID and other things, other events, in a way that was more palatable to the mainstream than what guys like you and I probably would have liked, because we do not represent the majority of the voters in this country. Now his eyes are wide open. He understands the deep state, and he's not burdened by a popularity contest known as the second term.
Agree. But I don't agree with the majority. I think you and I do represent the majority now.
Now, I'm saying now. I can tell you I did not represent the majority of people who spoke about COVID in California when I was giving my opinions and being shouted down constantly. Yeah. So I felt like he had to steer it toward the middle of the road. He also came in with the mistaken premise that he would be liked if he did a good job, and the New York Times would write glowing reviews about his presidency and so forth. That pipe dream is long gone. There's no more New York Times and CNN and wanting to be the toast of the New York elite or anything. That's an illusion. That's gone. You know, when you give up the gilded cage of wanting to be liked, it frees you up. It frees you up in terms of policy. It frees you up to speak about COVID. It frees you up to do comedy. It frees you up to run a business. Like, it is freeing when you stop caring how many people like you. Yeah, 100%. And if they admire you and it react to it, if they hate you, you react to it. And I think he had that deficit that first time. I don't think he has that. I agree with you completely. He doesn't have that this time. I think he's driven by ego, though, that he wants to write history now. Yes. He wants to go down as one of these historical characters in American history that changed. This MAGA thing is bigger than Trump now. It did not have the legs, the energy, or the fuel 10 years ago that it has today. It's a movement all by itself. I don't think you kill it. I think it grows, it gets stronger. Maybe MAGA in California becomes Make California, California again. I agree. I've been here my entire life, and I remember when it wasn't this way. And also, you know, when you say driven by ego, look, I'm a Rams fan. Sean McVay's the coach. He has a bit of an ego on him. And if his ego is directly correlated to how many games he can win in a season and how many Super Bowls he can win, then as a Rams fan, I'm fine with him expressing his ego. Healthy ego. Yeah, as long as his ego means what's best for the Rams, then go ahead. Get off on your ego, Sean McVay. Yeah, exactly. If that's the fuel he needs to be historical now. Yes. I mean, he's only got one term, so he doesn't have anybody to please now. Yeah, but I don't, maybe I'm being Pollyanna-ish, but I think Trump's going to kick ass. I certainly know he has to, compared to Biden, who's anemic and all his appointees were insane. And it's going to be real easy to outdo the last administration. And then I assume J.D. Vance will pick it up, because our country's going to want more of the same after that. And I see J.D. Vance for 8 years and Trump for 4 years. But then where's that leave our beloved Gavin Newsom? And he's going to term out here in 26. And then how do you fit into that equation? Well, I don't know how I fit in exactly right now. Let me tell you one thing I am concerned about. I'm concerned about Rick Caruso, because he's more of the same. He'll try to run, but he's more the same. I think, didn't he run as a Democrat for mayor? He did run for mayor. I do not know Rick Caruso, but anybody would be better than Karen Bass, I would say, the current mayor. But I agree with that too. And he ran as a Democrat because... And he's not a Democrat. No, let's keep it real. And that's what my point was, Adam. The people can see the bullshit now. Yeah. They're seeing through the bullshit. Well, far be it for me to defend Rick Caruso, who I do not know, but California and L.A., I should say, especially, if you don't put a D in front of your name, you don't stand a chance. So I don't know if you can call that a sellout, because you've eliminated your chances of being elected if you ran as a Republican.
I know, but I just think he was in the in-between place at that time. It was the timing. In politics, it's timing. Like, the people have to be ready. No matter what the policies are, the ideas are, if the people aren't ready to eat the sandwich, there's no reason to bring it to the table. So the people are ready now. California will have to get frustrated. If not, these other red states will continue to be the victors of the spoils and mistakes of the politicians of California.
Well, you know what I find interesting is when they do understand the concept of making it more hospitable to businesses and attracting the business community and the revenues they bring. And I'll give you an example. Hollywood. They got very greedy and production fled. And all Hollywood was sort of a microcosm of the populace of California, which is, we'll pay a little extra to have all the beautiful topography, but you want to start gouging us, and we'll go to Atlanta and film, or we'll go to New Mexico and film, we'll go to Prague, New Orleans, we'll go everywhere and film. Right. And Los Angeles, and so Hollywood, the most progressive group in the country, Hollywood gladly gets up and leaves. I mean, I was doing a show in Canada many years ago in Winnipeg, and up the hall, in the middle of winter, and up the hall was Samuel L. Jackson. And he was at that hotel for 4 months. And what were they doing? They were shooting a movie that was supposed to take place in Chicago, but they were trading out Winnipeg for Chicago. And Samuel L. Jackson is the most progressive guy in the world, the guy that would yell at everyone, pay your fair share, Los Angeles this and Hollywood that. That guy gets on an airplane and splits in 2 minutes and goes off to Winnipeg to give Canada the money so somebody could shave a couple of points off the production. Fine. They understood it. They found out, fleeing productions, and then they had press conferences saying, sorry, we understand. We're going to make things a little more enticing now, and we're going to give you motivation to not flee. We want you to do your productions here in Los Angeles, here in California, because they saw all the revenue was leaving, and they saw that unless they enticed people to come back through just numbers, that they were going to continue to leave, and they didn't like that. So they get it. I mean, it's not that difficult a concept, but they've already implemented this concept in the most blue bastion of California, Hollywood. So why don't they just take that model and sort of spread it out over the state with the exact same brain?
The agenda has to be to return California to its greatness.
Yes.
Which would be a very fast state. The government has to move fast. The regulations have to be lowered. The idea that that you have 3 permits or 3 inspections for a garage, that's a real deal. That's happening. It's completely ridiculous.
Yes.
You have plenty of housing in California, plenty of housing in California to solve all the housing problems if they put business people in place, by the way, without spending a penny in taxpayer dollars or getting anything regulated or approved or inspected or even built. You could solve about 1.4 million unlivable situations in California today, simply by being creative, taking the unoccupied housing that exists and giving people incentives to fill that housing up.
I completely agree, but it's not going to be by a career bureaucrat who's just trying to sort of make friends and push paper around. You're going to need somebody who takes care of business, who lives in that world. And I don't know why it's not abundantly obvious. You have a group of people that have never had a job in the private sector. I mean, when I was sort of taking account of
they can't get a job in the private sector.
No. But
what are they going to do, right?
I was thinking about. I said several months ago on this podcast, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, together, 200 years of employment, none in the private sector. They've literally, and
not a day.
Yeah, there was a fourth person in there, but they literally, or it was basically it was 150 years, and not one of them had a job in the private sector. Why should they be running anything? That was the pitch. Their pitch was Kamala Harris, who's never had a job, maybe at McDonald's. I don't know. We can't seem to verify that. Tim Walz has never had a job. These guys outside in the private sector.
I think he was a teacher coach. So we'll give him for having some kind of job. But
no, I'm not saying never been employed. Yeah. I'm saying teacher job is not exactly the private sector. It's what you do when you don't want to compete in the private sector. It's a little slice of socialism here in the United States. Don't get me started. My point is this. Why should these people be making decisions?
And the issue is, on the flip side of that, Adam, is a guy like me that's, in business, making money in business, being rewarded by being in business, having the freedom of doing whatever I want when I want. Why would I go into the government situation? Because I can't get anything done.
Right.
So the timing has to be right. And Trump's timing is phenomenal. Okay. The timing was right for him the first time he ran. He missed it the second time because of the chaos of COVID. I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about what's going on in New Jersey right now. There's some black swan event that's being organized to disrupt and derail his plans for the first 3 months of his term and put him into complete chaos. And set him on his heels.
I mean, we would be naive if we didn't think something was being planned. I've never. The one thing I do know is they do not go quietly into the night and take their loss. So it feels really tranquil now, like, oh, they lost and it was a fair election and they accepted. And many voices on the Democratic side have not been defiant. They've been, look, we made mistakes. We got out of touch. We used to be the party of the working class. Now we're not anymore. And we need to reel it in with the trans talk and all the crazy talk. And I go, yeah, good. But they've never quietly gone anywhere.
They're not laying down
and
right now.
Something... Yes, be prepared for some event that completely brings us back to Russiagate, Steele dossier, like whatever. They're not going to circle back to Russia because they've been to that trough too many times, but something that should catch us all. Yes, that's 100%. Right.
I mean, give him a problem bigger than what he can, so that it throws off his execution plans. This is what happens in business anyway. I want to throw my competitor off. I want to give him more problems over here than he can handle, so he can't compete with me at another level, gives me a gap in the marketplace. And I think that could be what's happening in New Jersey. We know what the drones, they have to know what those drones are. Those are our drones. That's our machinery, our equipment. It's flying at night using infrared. It's gone in the daytime because the infrared doesn't work in the daytime. So there's something they're not telling us. There's nothing you need to know, Adam.
Yes.
Everything's fine. Sounds like COVID, right?
Biden's response recently when asked about it was a combination of it's nothing and gibberish. Like, really, if you read a transcript of the last 9 words that came out of his mouth, it wouldn't even be anything. I think we might be able to find it, Dawson. I saw it on Megyn Kelly's show today, but it was at night, and he was outside, and it was one of those, well, what's going on with the drones? And he sort of gave there's no problem with the drones, which I don't know why anyone would believe anything Biden said at this stage. And not only this stage, but with his track record of I've never talked to my son about business ever and all this kind of stuff. But it does make you kind of wonder, what's the plan? Because the deep state is pretty invested in status quo. And breaking up the status quo is going to upset a lot of people, and it's going to cost a lot of people a lot of money. And they will not go out without a fight.
$24 trillion.
Yeah.
4 years. It's $24 trillion. If we just count the money that's circulated in the United States of America, there's so much graft, so much corruption. When you look at Nancy Pelosi, who's been in politics for 40 years, making $179,000 a year. She walks away with $250 million. If you do the math on that, she would have had to have been born before the Great Pyramids were built.
Yeah, no, she's got her two side-by-side Sub-Zero giant walk-in stainless steel refrigerators were worth more than the first three houses I lived in. I think this is the clip of him saying nothing to see here mixed with a little gibberish at the end.
Nothing nefarious, apparently, but they're checking it all out. I think it's just one. There's a lot of drones authorized up there. I think one started and they all got it. Everybody wanted to get in the deal.
What did he say?
I don't know what he said.
He said a lot of drones authorized, I think.
A lot of drones authorized, and one drone got there, and everyone wants the rest to get in the deal. What is it? Joe, don't start a podcast. When you retire, Joe, I tell everyone, start a podcast. There's one guy, there's one famous guy I'm going to say, do not start a podcast. And that'll be talking gibberish with Joe, because I don't even know what the end was. But that was him just saying,
they know what it is. They know what it is. The American public deserve to know. And again, they're going to keep doing this stuff, and the people are going to become more and more hostile. The people are going to become more and more demanding of transparency, authenticity, truth. Hey, validate, accountability. I want to see how your plan works. When Kamala was saying she was going to build 3 million houses, they didn't tell people it would cost $10 trillion.
Right.
And they didn't tell people that it's never been done in history.
Right.
And they didn't tell people it would take 10 or 12 years to do it if you could pull it off. So the people are going to start demanding, I believe, Adam, hopefully the state of California is going to start demanding, show me some receipts how you're going to do it because you've done it before.
Well, it's starting, I see memes about Gavin Newsom's on year 20 of his 10-year plan to get rid of homelessness, and they spent $24 billion in the past several years with no accountability and more homelessness now. Like, at some point, dumb people will hit their saturation level. Smart people figure things out before dumb people, and they don't want to tolerate it early. Guys like yourself, you moved out. Dumber people have to really wait until they are a victim of violent crime before they can actually want more police and a non-Soros, related DA and things like that. A lot of people literally need to physically be pistol whipped before they go, what's going on around here? And we're sort of at that point in California where people are just being pistol whipped. But sadly, we have to get to that. Like, that's the sad part. And I don't know why we have to bottom out, but evidently we have to.
The drug addicts got to bottom out. The alcoholics got to bottom out. The gambling addicts got to bottom out. The marriage has to bottom out. Unfortunately, California has so many unbelievable resources. It's actually, it's hard to bottom out because the goddamn weather is so beautiful all the time.
I agree. No, I agree. I sort of look at us as, I think people that came before us used to just think you could dump an unyielding or endless amount of sewage into the river and then into the sea. You could just keep dumping raw sewage and it would never go bad. Like, it was so vast and the sea was so great that it would just absorb an endless amounts of just from factories, from cities, just literally. And that's sort of true, but at some point fish start floating up to the top. And that's kind of where we're at. Like, California feels like it can absorb an endless amount of homeless, an endless amount of illegals, and an endless amount of sort of white flight or rich people heading to Texas and Florida. We can just, whatever you can throw at us, we can absorb it because of how grand we are and how vast we are and how beautiful we are. But at a certain point, the fish start floating.
Yeah, and that's what's happening now, right?
That's the way I see it.
I was in San Diego, and I lived there 15 years. I couldn't believe what they did to that city just in the last 6 years.
Yeah. That's what
Most
I hear.
beautiful city we have in this country, and downtown's destroyed. They spent hundreds of billions of dollars down there building their infrastructure and the new buildings and housing. And then they approved a homeless shelter across the street from the stadium.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's sad. The sad part is it's self-inflicted wound.
Somebody signed off on it.
Right.
Exactly. Somebody said, yeah, this is a good idea.
I know. It's one thing, a tsunami, typhoon, hurricane, sort of a force majeure kind of stuff, earthquake. All we've done is all self-inflicted. That's the crazy part. Before I let you go, this is interesting to me. The first ever Bitcoin real estate fund, which I find interesting. Tell us about that, Grant.
Yeah, so I own a company that democratizes institutional quality real estate. I do this with regular people. I consider you a regular person, by the way.
Thank you.
Famous regular person. But I have about $5 billion worth of real estate in apartment complexes, none in California anymore because we sold it all.
Sure.
But we allow regular investors to invest alongside my money and my deals. We don't go to big banks, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Wall Street. They're all out of the deals, but I buy their assets, high quality institutional. We just started a fund where I added Bitcoin to the purchase, and we'll take a very safe investment like these real estate investments that return 5 or 6% a year and turn that into something that does 30 or 40% a year by combining. We're basically buying Bitcoin from the cash flow of the real estate. And at the 3-year mark, it looks almost like that we got our Bitcoin for free.
Wow.
If we hit our assumptions. So I've been studying Bitcoin for 7 years. I'm 66 years old. I'm a little older than you. So I'm slow to move on new ideas. I've been studying Bitcoin for about 7 years, but investing in real estate for 40. And I'm going to put the two together. And it's going to be, I believe, a revolution in investing for real estate investors, taking the best of an old world asset, real estate, and combining it with a new world asset called Bitcoin.
That's a really provocative and interesting idea. I should tell people you can go to now cardonecapital.com/new-offering.
Bitcoin. Yeah, if they want to check out what we're doing there.
I think it's really interesting. And Grant, next time you're in Malibu, hit me up because I'm up the street and we'll just go to Lucky's.
Yeah, where you can't tell me the address, but just tell me, I'm on Carbon Beach.
I'm across or near Duke's.
Okay.
So
good. I pass by. Of course, I pass there all the time. Right.
Take an electric bike ride away, and we'll go to Lucky's and get a martini and talk about the State of the Union.
I love that.
It's great to see you, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks, Adam. Good seeing you.
Grant Cardone, everybody. All right, and then there's Dana Gould, and you can listen to the Dana Gould Hour and the podcast available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and he's got dates coming up. Shoot him. Go to his website, danagould.com. How about that? I'm going to be in Vegas. I'm going to be in Solana Beach. I'm going to be in Covina. I'm going to be in Boca Raton. I'm going to be in Naples. Just go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live shows. And until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Dana Gould, Grant Cardone, and Mayhem Miller saying, Mahala.